Hello everyone, I'm very much excited while I'm presenting this video where we are going to solve top 20 interview questions which were asked in data science or data analytics interviews for the companies like Amazon, Airbnb, Apple, Facebook, Google, Netflix, and many more. And let me tell you, we are going to solve all of these questions in Python with the help of Pandas. Now, who this video is for? The level of this video is going to be for beginner to intermediate level, mostly to the intermediate level, to be very honest. But even if you are someone who is beginner, we have tried to explain it in a way where it could be very easy for you to understand. Okay, now how is this video going to help you? This video is going to help you enhance the analytical ability, problem solving skills, and different intermediate and advanced panda techniques which you might have not learned in your pandas tutorial. So here we are going to solve top 20 questions with the help of pandas. Now you might be getting question, how did we get to know that what are the questions which were asked in this kind of top-notch companies? So that's the interesting part into this video. There is one website which is called stratascratch, which provides many of the premium, which is paid and unpaid questions related to coding, non-coding, data projects, guides, blog and pricing is something which is different, but guide, blog and pricing are something different to refer later on. But these are the three things which are which you get on this website for the practice purpose. So we are going to deep dive into the coding questions, and into this we are going to put the filters for here. So it shows all kind of questions. Now here we are going to choose Python, and we are going to go with the free questions. I'm sorry, I'm not a premium customer of this website. I have not paid any premium. That's why I can only show you the free questions. But don't worry, these questions are going to be very interesting and very insightful, and are going to help you learn lot of things and improve your problem solving skills immensely, right? So let's move forward. Right over here we have chosen Python and free question. In the difficulty level we are going to start with no, easy, and I'm also going to put hard labeled questions on pause for now, and we are going to focus on medium level questions. So here we got top 20 questions right over here, and let's just start with solving the questions one by one. So first question which we are going to look into is something which was asked in the company Forbes, and the difficulty level is medium. Let's look into the question over here. It says find the three most profitable companies in the entire world, right? So here it has given the list of it has given the data which has list of 100 companies along with their profitability. Let's have a look at the sample data, what kind of sample data that we have, right? It is just producing the sample data. Let's just give it some time. Okay. In the meantime, while it is producing, let's read out the questions further. Here it says output the result along with the corresponding company name. So in the output there are two things which is expected. One is company name, the other one is their profitability. Then sort the result based on profits in descending order. Okay, so then again you have to sort the values into the descending order as well. Okay, so what we're gonna do is let's have a look at the expected output. So in the expected output, this kind of the information which is expected, company name and the profits, their profits in the descending order, right? So let's have a look at the sample data. Here I have executed, let's just execute and see top 5 records. This is the data frame, and I'm just picking the top 5 records. So you see this is this kind of the data it is looking, right? Company name, sector, etc. So here we have the profit column, right? And other than that we have the web pages as well. So trust me, this is going to be the simplest ever question, though it has been given in the medium difficulty level, but this is going to be very simple. All that we require is we need to pick the company name and we need to pick the profits, right? So let's just first pick the required columns which are needed to keep the pick the company name. So let's say company, then we are going to choose profits. All right, profits, both of these two things are chosen, right? So here you see both of these two things are chosen. Now the next thing which we require to pick is the largest values, right? The companies with the largest profit, right? So for that, the function which we used is, there is one function which is called n largest. All right, n largest, this is the function, and it takes two argument. Number one, how many records that you want to find. So here in the question it says find the three most profitable, right? So top three it want, right? So how many companies, how many records that we want? Three. And what is the column in which we want to find the maximum value? So that column is profits. So let's just put profits and let's run this. So here is what you got. You see, this is as simple as that. ICBC company 42.7%, this company 39%, this company 37%. So you see how simple was it, right? It just picked the largest values and it has given it to you. Now if you want to sort this, let's just try to sort this, sort values by profits. And though it is already sorted, but because it has asked in the question, so let's just try to put that ascending equals to false. Let's run this and see. Oops, the spelling error. ng ascending. Okay, now you see again you're gonna get the same kind of result, but it's just let's just do that, right? So you got this solution, right? This is how you can solve this. Let's just check the solution whether this is correct or not. So yeah, the answer is correct. Now you solve this in just less than 5 minutes. Bingo. Let's see the next question. This question was asked in Facebook interview, right? Facebook interview, and the difficulty level is medium. The question is user by average session time. Let's understand it. It says calculate user's average session time. A session time is defined as the time difference between a page load and page exit. So if you see the data, in data you have three columns: user ID, timestamp, and action. Okay, so in action you would have the values like, let me show you over here. Here I'll just show it to you. And when you run code, this is how the action would look like: page load, page scroll up, scroll down, etc. Right? So what you have to do is, what it is saying over here is a session is defined as the time difference between page load and page exit. So in action you would have page load and page exit. So difference between those two time is the session time. Okay, for simplicity, assume a user has only one session per day, and if there are multiple of the same events on that day, consider only the latest page load and earliest page exit. All right, then output the user ID and their average session time. So let's see what sort of output is expected. So here you can click and here you can see this is how they are expecting the output. Okay, so let's just start with this. To help you understand it better, what I'm going to do is, first I'll take this data, take the whole data. Okay, so when you run this, run code, and here it is showing a tab, view the output in separate browser, right? So here it will give me all the output data. What I'll do is I'll select this all, I'll go in Excel and paste a special. Right, so now here I have the data. I'll help you understand the question in more detail. So for that, first I would sort the data to I'll be sorting the data on two levels. One is user ID, then timestamp, and now the data is sorted. Now it says that we have to find the difference between page load and page exit. So there is no point of keeping this scroll down, scroll up, etc. over here, right? So I would remove all of them except page load. All of the rest value I would just remove. Okay, now it looks simple for you. Now it says the difference if there are multiple page load and multiple page exit, then it is saying take the latest page load and earliest page exit. So if you see for user ID 0, the page load, the latest, there are two continuous page loads, so we have to pick the latest one. Now here you might see only hours and minute if you want to see this in full seconds. So here I'll just change the timestamp value. Right now you can see there are two consecutive page loads, so there is no point of keeping this one, right? So we'll just ignore that. Now we have to find the difference. Earliest page exit is this, right? So we need to find the difference between these two and then these two for the user ID 0. Same goes for user ID 1. We need to find the difference between these two and these two, right? Load and exit. For user ID 2, there is no page exit, so this will be excluded. So this is as simple as that, right? So you just need to find the difference. How can you find the difference? So to find the difference, if somehow you have to get the difference between exit and load. So exit is the maximum time. If somehow if you can get this value next to this, then what you can do is you can simply take this minus this, right? And this is how you get the difference, right? And then again you will get the difference over here for this value, and then you take the average by this user ID. I just hope that the statement is clear to you, problem statement is clear to you. Now let's go to the pandas and try to understand this. So to help you understand this in pandas, what I will do is I'll directly import the data over here first. So first let's just say import pandas as pd. So first job is to simplify the data, right? So let's just first import the data. So here we got the data. Now what you saw is an Excel, first we remove all those actions which we don't require, right? So for that what I'm going to say is fb equals to fb.query, and into that you can write the query like SQL. Okay, you can say query action in page load and page exit. Page load, these are the two values that you are looking for, right? And you can say page exit, and let's just see how the data looks like. Wow, we got it over here, right? Now the next job is creating two columns. Over here I will create one column for page exit and one column for page load, and into that I'll populate the page exit and page load timestamp. So let's just create that. Here I'm just going to create page exit, and for that what I'll do is I will use fb.apply. I'm going to create a function over here, and for that I will use lambda, right? Lambda x. So if you want to understand about lambda, I will drop the link for a specific video, just check that out, that talks all about apply and lambda. Okay, now here I would say what is the value that I want to populate in this page exit. So now entire data frame is defined as x, right? Now in this page exit I want to populate the value of timestamp, right? This timestamp value will come into the page exit. A new column will be added, and into the value from timestamp will be populated, but that has to be on a condition. So let's write the true condition. So if x action equals to page exit, then I'm simply saying if action equals to page exit, then populate the timestamp value into page exit column. I'm creating a new column, and into that I'll populate this. If not so, then populate none, and this has to be done by column. Okay, let's just see the value. Oops. Okay, here we got, right? Now you see page exit values are populated. Same thing we need to do for page load. So let's say it page load, and just come back over here and let's just see this. Okay, now you got it for page load as well. Now the next problem statement is we need to subtract this page load value from page exit. But what you see, wherever we have page exit value, there is no page load. Wherever we have page load, there is no page exit. So how to manage this? It's very simple. What you can do is you just do the fill NA in page load. Let's just try to do that. So here what I will do is, let's call it page load dot fill NA. It's fill NA, and here I would say method equals to forward fill. Let's just see how does it looks like. Okay, so here is how it looks like, but we will have to put it in a different column. So for that I'm going to create another column, and into that I would say page load new. I'm going to say page load new, and then let's just print this. Bravo, we got this right. Now the next job is to simplify the data. I will drop all the NA values which exist in page exit, right? So I would say drop NA, subset equals to column name. I want to use page exit. So wherever NA value exists into this data, I will just remove that. Bravo, we just got that. Okay, now the next thing is we require to have we just require how many columns? So we just require user ID, page exit, and page load n. Then we will find the difference and we'll take the average, right? So that's what I'm going to do next. Let me just see over here, how does this, oops, here it shows the all data. FP, let me just see, and here if I print this, good, this looks good. Okay, all right. So now the next thing is we need to keep only required columns, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'll keep user ID, then I will keep page exit, and then I'm going to keep page load n, and I'm going to store this into FP, and let's just see. Bravo, we just got it. Now the next thing is finding the difference between these two. So for that I'm going to create another column. Let's call it second difference, which means I'm trying to find the difference in seconds. So what I have to do is page exit minus page load, right? That is it. So let's say FP, here I'm going to say page exit minus FB page load n, and let's put them all into a bracket and say dt dot total underscore seconds. Okay, now let's print FP. Got it, we got that right, seconds. So you see a difference between these two dates, date and time. I'm finding that into seconds. Now I have to find the average of these two, right? So for that I'm going to say FB dot pivot table. I'll just create pivot table, and into that I would say index equals to user ID, and for value on which column we want to perform the aggregation. So we want to perform aggregation on this second difference, right? So that's what I'm going to say. Let's just see why it's taking longer. Let's say FP dot pivot table, and into that index equals to user ID, then here it should take values. I'm sure why it's not auto completing it. Let's call it values equals to sec difference, and then aggregative function I want to use mean. Bravo, we just got this right. So For user ID 0, the second difference is 183.5. For user ID 1, it is 35.0. Now let's just check our answer. Alright, so this is, here it says for 0, this was the answer which was expected. So we are done. We just solved this, right? So I just hope that it was clear to you. Just in case of any doubt, feel free to put your doubt into the comment section. I'll definitely try to help you out. Okay, so here comes the question. Here it says write a query that will identify returning active users, right? So now you should get a question. You should ask the question to the interviewer, what does mean by returning active users? So here in the question it has explained a returning active user is a user that has made a second purchase within 7 days of any of their purchases, right? So what does it mean actually is if there is a customer who has done consecutive transactions within 7 days, those are the active returning customers. I'll explain you. But in the output, what is expected in the output? They are only interested in seeing the user IDs. So the data which they are providing, that has all these columns: ID, which is transaction ID, user ID, item created at, and revenue. For your exercise or for this question, we require only two things: user ID and created ID. To get the data, what you can do is you just run this code. Let me run this for you. Looks like there is some problem. Okay, let me run this code for you. So this code is executed over here, right? What you can do is you can just open this in a new page and copy this, put it in Excel, and then import it in Python or wherever you want to solve this, right? If you want to solve this in here, you can solve this over here also, right? So today I'm going to solve this problem statement using Pandas. If you are interested in learning how to solve this using SQL, let me know into the comment section. I'll definitely explain that. Okay, so here I have the data. Now what I have done is I have taken this into the Excel over here. What exactly the question is asking? Let's say I sort this data. To understand that, I will sort this data, and you see over here the user ID is 100. For this user, these all are the transactions, right? These are all the transactions. And now you see these are the transaction dates. So if you see, first transaction he did on 18th March, second is 29th March. So the difference between these two is more than 7 days. But if you see over here, okay, let me do another sort. There are two sort which we need to do: user ID and then by created at. Okay, these two sorts. All right, so now if you see, the user ID is 100, and if you see the first transaction which it has done is on 7th March, second is on 13th March. So the difference between these two is less than 5 days. Okay, so this is the active returning customer. If you see over here, here also the difference is less than 7 days, but if you see over here, the difference is more than 7 days. But that doesn't matter. All those transactions which this particular user has done, between any of these two transactions, between any of those two transactions, the day difference should be 7 days. So I just hope that you have understood the question, right? For example, if you see over here, these are the two transactions. Here also the difference is just 1 day, right? So these all are the transactions where the difference is less than 7 days. If you can see over here, right? These are the different customers. So we need to find all those customers where the difference is less than 7 days. Okay, let's just jump to the Pandas and let me try to show you how you can do this, right? So for example, you see this one. The user ID is 116, but the day difference is more than 7 days. So this is not a returning active user. All right, let me take you to the Jupyter notebook. Here we have already imported that data. Now the first thing which I will start with is I'll sort this data. Amazon dot sort values. So Amazon is my data frame, and I'm just sorting it by two columns, which is user ID and the created at, and I would say in place equals to true. Let's see the data. Amazon dot hit. So here we go. Now the data is sorted, right? Next thing which comes is finding the difference between these two consecutive date. Very important concept. Okay, how can you do that? So for that I'm just going to do this thing, Amazon dot group by, and into that we need to group it by user ID. So you see this is grouped. Now we need to find the difference between dates created at, right? So let me just do that, and I need to find the difference. So you see here we got that the differences are over here. So the problem statement is, if you have to find the difference, so wherever user ID changes, it should the difference should not continue. Okay, let me try to explain you. Amazon, here I'm just going to create a variable into this, which will be day, let's call it day diff. Okay, and then let's say Amazon dot head. Now here it is pretty clear. So you see this is the first entry, and over here you are getting NAT, right? No time. Over here the user ID changes, and again you have NAT. Let me show you some 10 records. Okay, now again you can see over here. So what you observe is, wherever the wherever the user ID changes, the difference starts from the 0, right? Which is fine. That's exactly what you need. If it doesn't happen, then what will happen is that will give you the incorrect answer, right? Because it will subtract the difference from the previous date, which is for another user, right? So that's this exactly what we want, and it has been done. I just hope that it is clear to you. The next thing which we need to do is we need to filter out all those transactions where the day difference is less than or equals to 7 days. Let's just do that. I'm going to say Amazon, and into that again Amazon, and day diff. So if you observe this day diff, let's try to check out the data type for this column. Okay, so for that what you can do is you say Amazon dot info, and you see the data type for this is time delta. So to filter the time delta, this is the logic which you can use. All right, and here you're gonna say pd dot time delta, and inside that, into the bracket, you put the values howsoever it is written. So you see it is written number and then space and then days. So what we require is 7 days, less than or equals to 7 days. All right, so let's just see that. Looks good. All right, so here you got all those records, right? Now you can see all the records which have 7 days, but now there is one problem. You see over here, each of these things have duplicates. We require the unique, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll say user ID dot unique. Let's run this. Yeah, here is what you got, right? So you got the answer. These are the user IDs, these are the users which are returning active users. To validate this, what you can do is you can go back to the website, and let me just say failed. Here is the solution. It gives you the solution over here. Here you see, here's the solution which has been given. So what you can do is you can copy this and you can put it in Excel and validate the answer whatever I just created. Okay, so you see 103, 105, 109, 110, and that is what you have over here as well, right? So I just hope that it was simple for you to understand. Just in case of any doubt, put that into the comment section. I'll definitely try to help you out. And again, if you want me to solve this in SQL, do let me know. I'll create another video for it. We need to find the acceptance rate by date. So on Facebook, this is Facebook question, Meta or Facebook question, right? So on Facebook, we send the friend request, and over here what it primarily wants you to find is whatever friend requests that you send on daily basis, how many of them are getting selected, and use that to calculate the acceptance rate, right? So let's say you send 10 requests on a particular day. Out of that, 5 are selected, 5 are accepted, so the acceptance rate is 50%. That's exactly what you need to calculate by date. So there will be a little catch into it. Let's go through the question and try to understand that. Here it says, what is the overall friend acceptance rate by date? Your output should have the rate of acceptance by the date the request was sent, right? So let's complete the question, then I'll explain you the data in detail. Order by the earliest date to latest date. So after calculating the acceptance rate, we just need to sort them by the date. Then over here it explains, assume that each friend request starts by a user sending, right? So friend request usually starts when we send the request. Okay, so that gets captured, sender's ID gets captured into the user ID sender, and acceptor, the person who is accepting it, his or her ID gets captured into the user ID receiver, right? And action, when you send, there will be one action column, into that the value sent will be captured, and when that request is accepted, in the same column the action will be captured as accepted. Let me give you a view of the data. For example, you see over here the data is, right? So what you need to do is you need to find the acceptance rate by date. This does not mean that you might get an understanding. Let's say that this is the data, and you simply take the count by each of the date. You simply take the count of sent and accepted by each of that, something like this. So here you see on 4th there are 4 sent, 0 accepted, 3 sent, 1 accepted on 6th, and you simply calculate the percentage. No, this is not how it's gonna work, because if you see the answer which it is expecting, expected output, it's something different what we got, right? Something like this. So it's not that case. What exactly it is trying to say is, let's say this is 4th, all right? Let me take pen from here and try to draw this to help you understand. So let's say this is 4th, right? On 4th this request has been sent, so you need to figure out whether this request was accepted or not. So how would you know that? Check out its sender ID and receiver ID. Okay, so this is the user who sent it, and this is the user whom the request was sent. Now again we need to find the another entry for this combination. Okay, so if you see, that is just over here, all right? So it's just over here, just below that, but the date is different, which is on 6th of Jan, right? So you need to pick all those requests which were sent on a particular date, and then you need to track whether those were accepted or not. What is the solution? How are you going to solve that? So the solution is, this is the data. So let's take one example. Let's pick all those requests which were sent on 4th. These are all those requests. Let's see whether this was accepted or not. So you see there are 2 entries for this sender and receiver combination, right? Then you see for this also there are 2 entries, which means it got accepted, right? Then again there are 2 entries for this sender and receiver combination, right? This is receiver and this is sender. Please don't get confused with these 2 selection. Okay, now if you have a look on this combination, there is only 1 entry, there isn't the other entry. So which means we can say that on 4th there were 4 requests sent, but out of them only 3 were accepted, 4th was not accepted. So the acceptance rate will be 3 by 4. How to solve this? So for that, what you're gonna do is, this is the data, you split that into 2 parts basis on the action. First part will be sent, then second one will be accepted. Once this 2 set of this data is created, the next thing which we're gonna do is combine them together, means merge it side by side. Okay, so now what you see over here is, this is the standard column, right? This is the date when the request was sent, and then the sent action which was captured initially, that is over here, and then the accepted date is captured over here, and accepted action is captured over here. Now you take summary of this, something like this. So what you see is, this is the date, on that day 4 requests were sent, and out of that 3 were accepted. Okay, on 6th 3 were sent, 2 were accepted. Now you calculate the percentage, so you get 75% for 4th Jan and sorry, 66% on 6th Jan, which is exactly the same what is accepted over here. You see over here, right? So let's just go ahead and try to solve this. So I just hope that you have understood the question. Now let me take you to the Jupyter notebook and try to help you solve this thing. So here is the data that we have got. Now how do we split this data? First we will start with splitting the data. So to split the data, what we're gonna do is, let's say, sent data, right? And for that I'm going to choose, this is Facebook data, and on the data I'm going to query, and in the query I'm going to say action equals to sent, and then let's see, sent data is available over here. Next I'm going to accepted, create the data set for accepted, and into that I'm going to query action equals to accepted. Let's see. So here is what we got. Now we need to merge both of these two tables basis on sender user ID and receiver user ID, right? So I'm going to say combined equals to, let's say, sent dot merge, and here I'm going to say accepted. Okay, say this is the data frame which I am choosing, the bigger one when the request was sent, and the accepted one I'm trying to merge with that, right? The columns which I want to use for merging are, let's say, user ID sender, and then the next one which I want to say user ID receiver. All right, then how I want to join? So I want to do the left join, because see, whatever requests which have been sent, out of them we need to check what all are those which have been accepted, right? So that's why I need to do left join. So let's just try and see how the data looks like. All right, we got this data. If you want, you can just change this suffix. I'm going to live with this for now, right? Now the next thing which we're gonna do is we need to take the summary of this data, okay, by date. So let's just do that. Combine dot pivot table, and into that we need to use index. In index we want to use date x. Date x is nothing but the date when the request was sent. Then on values, the columns on which we want to perform the calculation, so those will be action underscore x. Action underscore x means how many were sent. Then those where it says accepted, okay. And then the kind of aggregation which we want to do is we want to simply take count. Here is what we got, okay. So date x equals to action x, action y. X and y is nothing but action accepted, okay. Now I want to do reset index. Done. Next thing which we need to do is calculate the percentage. How can we do that? So let me put this on in summary table, and then over here into this I'm going to create rate, acceptance rate, and for that we don't need to do much. Action y divided by action x. Simple. Summary dot action underscore y divided by summary dot action underscore x. So x is nothing but the sent count and y is nothing but the accepted count, okay. So now when we do this, let's see what is it that we're gonna get. Let me print the summary over here. Yeah, we got this, but in answer it is accepted, or it is expected to have only 2 columns. So let's put that, those 2 columns only. The acceptance rate, let's print that. Oops, there is just one change which we need to put. Why did I do this? this one. Yeah, we got this. All right, so this is solved. Now the next thing which we're gonna do is we're gonna put this into the portal and see if the question, if the solution is right or not. Okay, so let's just go over here and I'm going to change this. I'm going to say fp equals to this, and let's just copy paste the code here. I'm going to take this, then this. You might like to skip this or maybe fast forward this. Then here we are doing the joinings, and after making the joins, all that we need to do is do the do the aggregation and calculate the percentage. All right, so this is done. Now let's just try to check the solution. Yeah, solved. It says this is correct. You see, bingo, we solved this question. So just in case if you get any doubt, put that into the comment section. I'll definitely try to help you out. If you like it, give a thumbs up. Hello everyone. So here I'm going to solve this question. For this the difficulty level is medium, but this is going to be a very interesting question, right? It's not because this require a lot of advanced function and all those things, advanced functionality and all those things, but because just how we manage to handle the data, right? So what it is saying is we need to find the popularity percentage. This question is from Facebook or Meta. The question says find the popularity percentage for each user on Facebook or on Facebook. Let's say on Facebook. So let's say your name is John, and on Facebook you have 1000 friends. So what is the popularity percentage that you have? How would you calculate that? That's what you need to find. So how would you find that? For that it says the popularity percentage is defined as the total number of friends the user has, right? So for example, your name is John and you have total number of friends as 1000 divided by the total number of users on the platform. So on Facebook, let's say there are 10,000 there are 10,000 total users, right? And you are one of those users and you have 1000 friends, right? So your popularity percentage will be 1000 divided by 10,000 into 100. So that's what it is telling you over here. It's as simple as that. Output each user along with their popularity percentage, right? So we need to output the user name or user ID and their popularity percentage. Order records in ascending order by user ID. So by user ID, we need to arrange that in ascending order as well. So the data has two columns. The user 1 and user 2 column are pair of friends. Let's have a look at the sample data. So you see over here, this is user ID, right? And this is also user ID. So user ID 2 is friend with user ID 1. Then user ID 1 is friend with user ID 3. So this is how the data looks like, right? In total, this has 9 records. So let's just go ahead and try to understand this data. To make it more clear, I will try to explain this with the help of Excel and with the help of some other examples. Okay, so you see here I have taken the data. This is exactly the same data which we have over there, right? And now you see over here it is numeric ID, but to make it very simple and less confusing, what I have done is I have placed a name, a real name for each of those number, and that I have marked in the color. So to solve this question, we require to figure out two things. First, total number of users on the platform, and then number of friends each user has, right? Rather, I can say this is the first thing which we need to find, and then this is the second thing. These two things, once you are done with figuring out these two things, you are sorted, right? So let me take this out from here and put it away here so that it does not create any kind of disturbance, right? So that's the problem statement which we have. So first problem statement is figure out the number of friends each user has. So let's see over here. Here you see the name Rohan. Rohan has one friend called Hari. Rohan has other friend called Bharat. Then Rohan has other friend called Punit. But at the same time, Kiran has friend as Kiran has a friend as Rohan. Then again Deepak has friend as Rohan, right? So in total, if you see, if you go by column A, so here you see Rohan has three friends, right? But at the same time, Kiran has Rohan as a friend. So ultimately, Kiran will be friend of Rohan also. So that means Rohan has fourth friend as well. Same goes with Deepak. So in total, if you see, Rohan has five friends. How many friends Rohan has? Five. So you see, Rohan has a friend named Hari. Rohan has a friend named Bharat. Two. Then again, Rohan has a friend named Punit. Three. Then again, here you see Rohan has a friend Kiran. Four. Then Rohan has a friend as Deepak. Five. Five friends Rohan has. But you see how difficult it is becoming to take a count. So we need to figure out a way, efficient way, so that we could simply put a pivot and we can take the count of that, right? So what we can do is, let's say this is the total data set. Let me make a copy of this, right? So I'm taking this data set over here again. Okay, all right. And then again, what I'll do is I'll copy user 2 and let me put it over here. And then again, for whoever was against that, let me put them over here. So now what you see over here is, let me make it a little small. Now what you see over here is all the things are at one sequence, so you don't need to put your mind looking at here and there, here and there. So now for example, if you have to check how many friends that Rohan has, so simply you put a filter over here and you see Rohan has 5 friends. But in the previous data set, if you had to check how many friends Rohan has, and if you go over here and find for that, so you get only 3, right? So the manipulation which we have done is, we simply, what we did is we copied user 2 and pasted it below user 1. Then again we copied user 1 and copied it below user 2. Now if you put a pivot on this, let me put a pivot on this. In Excel you might have used the pivot, right? So if you put a pivot on this like this and then like this, so here is what you get. See, Rohan is here, he has 5 friends, and in total how many users are there? There are 9 users, and each of the users have these friends. So if once you get this kind of table, you will simply put it over here, right? You simply gonna put it over here, and then you're gonna divide each of these with 9, because there are total 9 users. So for example, you need to calculate the popularity percentage for Bharat. This will be 1 divided by 9. So this divided by 9. All right, and then you drag it same. But because you have to convert it into the percentage, you need to multiply it with 100, right? And then you see this. You see, you got the percentage. So this is exactly what we need to achieve in the Python. So first task which we are going to do is put whatever we have as user 2, we need to put that below user 1, and whatever we have below user 1, we need to put that below user 2. That is the first thing. Once you are done with that, the things are almost sorted. You see something like this over here. This is exactly what we had done, right? So you see this user, whatever we had in user id 2, we put over here, and whatever we had in user id 1, we put that over here, right? After doing this, you just create a pivot and then it is sorted, right? So let's just go ahead and try to do this in Python. In Python, we would require to create 2 data frames, right? And would require to rename that as well, right? So let me take you to the Python. In this portal itself, I'm just going to solve that. So the data frame name was, where do I get this is the data frame name. So this is the data frame name, and if you want to print this, you see This is how the data is looking like. So don't worry about these are just the user IDs, right? So to make it a small data frame name, I'm just going to store it into Facebook, right? Then the second data frame which I'm going to create is Facebook 2. In that, what I'm going to do is I will rename these two columns first. Okay, so let me just rename these two. So I'm going to say fb dot rename, and here I'm going to say columns equals to user 1, that I would rename as user 2, and then user 2 I will rename, sorry, my bad, user 1. All right, and now let me run this. Here is what we got, right? So user 1 is renamed as user 2 and user 2 is renamed as user 1. Now I need to append this fb2 below fb3, right? So let's just see. Combined, let me create a data frame called combined, and I'm going to say pd.concat, and into that I'm going to put both of these two, fb2. All right, and let's just see combined. Let's just print it. Bravo, we got that. Let me just check out how many records that we got into it. We got 18, which makes sense, right? Because originally in one data frame we have 9, then same thing we are putting in fb2 as well, so in total it becomes 18. Now after this, what we need to do is simple. We just need to put pivot on this particular column. Okay, let's just have a look on this, how it looks like user 1. So let's just put that combined dot pivot table, and into that in index we are going to use, in index here we are going to use user 1, and in index we are going to use user 1, and then in agfunc, let's call it agfunc, we are going to take a count of it. Now let's just see how does it looks like. So you see, this is how it is looking like. Now I will again do reset index. You see, this is how it looks like. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, these are all the user IDs. User ID 1 has 5 users. Now let me show you in the Excel also. So user ID 1 refers to Rohan, so this has 5 users. You see, this is how. So we are done with this. Now we need to divide. This is the you can primarily consider this as the count. Okay, so what we can do is we need to divide this with the total count of users. So now we need to take total count of the users. How many total count that we have? We have 9, but here it is small data set, so you can get to know that thing. But just in case if you have huge data set, you won't get to know. So how would you understand that? So for that, let's just say shape. Then what you get is 9 rows and 2 columns. So out of this you need to pick this 9, right? Or let me do this, let me call it summary. I'm just putting it inside this. All right, inside the summary I put all this data. Now in this summary I will put popularity count. It asks me to what is it. Let's just have a look at the expected count. We can create a count variable, or we can just say popularity count. Let's say that popularity percentage. I'm just going to say it. Okay, now into this we have this user 2, right? User 2 divided by total count of it, right? So I'm going to say summary into this user 2 divided by dot shape, and here I'm just going to pick the 0th element, right? So this will give me this data. This is going to give me this, you see. Let me do this summary. So this is what we got over here. All right, this is the user ID, this is total number of count, and this is the percentage that we are getting. Now what we need to do is we need to multiply it with 100, right? So let me just multiply it with 100. All right, here is what we got. You see that? See, that's exactly what we got. But in final output we require only two things, which is user1, that is the final user ID, and then we require this popularity percentage. Done. We are done with solving this question. Now let's just check whether that is right or not. Ooh, this is correct. This is absolutely right. So this is how we just solved this. It was very simple, I guess. All the magic which it has is over here, right? Once you are done with understanding this, it is going to be simple. I just hope that it was easy for you also to understand. Just in case if you get any doubt, put that into the comment section. If it was easy for you to understand, share it with your friends and subscribe this for our motivation. This is the question asked in Airbnb interview and the difficulty level is medium. This question was about ranking most active guests, right? So the customer who was most active was supposed to have the rank number 1. Now how do we identify that which customer is most active? For that, let's read the question. Here it says rank guests based on the number of messages, right? So based on number of messages we have to do the ranking. They have those messages which they have exchanged with the host. All right, next says guest with the same number of messages. There is quite possibility that customer A and customer B, both of them have exchanged the number of messages 20 with the host, right? So in that case you have to give them same rank, as other guests should have same rank. Do not skip ranking if the preceding ranking are identical, right? So we don't have to do skipping on any of the ranking. We don't need to skip any of the ranking. I'll explain you all in detail. Output the rank, guest ID, and number of total messages they have sent. So in output they are expecting these three things only: rank, what is the rank that you are giving, guest ID, and the number of messages they have exchanged. Okay, now let's have a quick look on the data. In the data, what you see over here, I have exported this data in Excel. Let me show you directly. If you want to export that in Excel, what you can do is you just remove this head and simply run this script. You gotta run this script. Once this is executed, then you can copy paste that in Excel. So once this is executed, you just click on this, view the output in separate window, and over here you would get the data something like this. All that you need to do is select this all till the end, come in Excel and paste it over here. Right, so here I have already done this. Now if you see in ID guess, there is quite possibility that the customer is repeated. For example, this one, let me show you the repeated customers once. So here you see this 4601 ending with 4601, it is repeated twice. Now the total number of messages which this particular customer has exchanged is this plus this. I think I'm right. 4, yes, 13 messages they have exchanged. So the first thing which we need to do is we need to calculate total number of messages exchanged by each of the guests, and for that what you can do is you can do the aggregation using pivot table. Let's just start with that. I'll go to the pandas over here, and right over here what I'm going to do is ab.pivot table, and into that I'm going to say index equals to ID guest. So when I am taking this summary, I want to take total number of messages by each of the guests. So in index I will put guest ID, okay, and then here comes in this parameter we need to supply that column name on which we want to perform the calculation. So that is n messages, okay. Then the function which we want to perform, so we want to do the sum, right? So here we got that. Now there is one more thing which we need to do is, let's say, reset index. Here we got that. Next, let's put this in a, let me try if it can be sorted here itself. No, it cannot be sorted over here because we would require to store it in a value. Okay, or let's just try sort values, and here say by n messages. Let's just see if this works. Ascending equals to false. Let's call it equals to false, just to keep the highest one at the top. Looks like there is some spelling error. Yeah, we got this. This is super, right? So now you can see this particular customer ID has done the maximum, this two has done the maximum number of exchanges. Now let me just store this in a separate data frame called ab_agg, which is nothing but Airbnb aggregated. So I just hope that it was clear to you. Okay, so what we did is till this point it was a pivot, then here we did the reset index, and here we are simply sorting it by n message, that too in descending order. All right, let's move forward, and into this next thing which we need to do is we need to create the rankings. So before we start with creating the ranks, there are, okay, let me show it to you first. Then agg dot, I'm going to say rank, and let's just see what happens. Okay, let me do one thing. ab_agg, here it is, and into that let me say rank, and over here ab_agg, and I want to use n_messages to do the ranking, and let's just see that over here I will print this. All right, so what you see over here is the customer which has maximum number of messages, it is giving the last rank, but in our problem statement it said the one who has maximum number of messages should have the highest ranking. You see, guest with the, here it says message they have exchanged with the host, guests with the same number of messages as other guests should have the same rank, do not escape, and it should be in descending order. The guest based on the number of messages they have exchanged with the host, guests with the same number of messages as the other should have this, do not skip ranking with the output this, order by highest number of total messages first, right? So we have to sort it. So for example, if you see what is the expected output, so over here you see this particular customer has 20 messages, and thus he gets ranking number 1. So that's something which we have to do, and for that again over here in the rank you need to say ascending equals to false. So when you do so, then the customer who has maximum number of messages, that will get the rank number 1. You see over here it is getting rank number 1.5. Now I will tell you, so here it says 1.5, that does not make much sense. So there are different methods for the ranking. So if you see over here, what you need to do is just come into the function and press shift tab, and then you get this kind of pop-up, and into that if you scroll down you will see all the possible methods which are accepted over here. You see over here, these all are the methods. Now I'm going to explain you briefly what all the this means, right? So let me take you over here. So the first method is called first. Okay, so when you do the first this kind of, when you choose this method, what's gonna happen is it will give the ranking like serial number, the way you say 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? So that way it does the ranking. It's very simple. Okay, but it will not be fair because you see both of these two customers have 20 messages, and to first customer you are saying rank number 1, and to the second one you are saying number 2. That doesn't make sense. So to solve this, Pandas does the default ranking using average or mean. How it works is, so all those customers who have same number of messages, so it will give the normal ranking first, which means first ranking. So you see, to the first customer it says 1, then to the second customer it says ranking 2, and it will find the average of both of these two, right? So how it works is, over here it will say, so let's say sum, you are taking sum of both of these two, which is 3. Now 3, there were two customers with this ranking, so 1.5. so in average it will have ranking 1.5. so that's what you get over here. You see over here, I'll just take this and I'll put it right over here. Average, this is the average ranking. Okay, so I just hope that it was clear. So it gives 1.1 to both of the customer who has same number of messages. Then it comes mean. In mean, what happens is, let's say it first finds the average ranking, okay, average ranking, and then into this you see over here 1.5. so it will round it up to the lowest part. So 1.5, when it goes by ranking using mean method, min, right, so it will give ranking 1 to this also and to this also, right? So this is how it will work. If you go by max, it will say 2, because 1.5, after 1.5 this is what comes, right, 2. so that's how it works. So for ranking mean, this is how it will take. Let me just take it from here and I'll just put it right over here. Now you see over here, but the problem is, to both of these two customer it has given ranking 1, and when it jumps to the second customer who has the second highest number of messages, it skips the ranking by 1. You see over here, it gave 1 to both of these two, and when moved to next one it says 3. so that's the problem. When you do in max, what it will do is, let me take this over here. Like I said, it will calculate the mean of using this thing, right, 1.5, and then it will take the max of that, okay, maximum limit. So for example, let me take this over here and put it over here. So here it is taking the average mean, average ranking, and maximum of 1.5, maximum yani upper rounding will be 2. so that's what it is putting 2, and again it skips the ranking by 1, where here it comes 4. Now comes the dense ranking. That is the phenomenal thing. Okay, how it works is, it will take it will take both of these two value, right, and it will give them the same ranking. Okay, so for example, starts from 1 and here it should be 2, but it will give the same ranking to this also, and when it moves to the next value, it doesn't skips any value, it will simply say 2. Again here also it says 2, right, and then when it moves to the second one, then it will say 3, and till the point it gets the same number, it will keep on saying 3. So the point which you should note is, here it is not skipping any value, it is working like mean, but it is not skipping when moves to the next value, right? So I just hope that it was clear to you. Let's just come back, and what is needed in this example is the dense one only. You see over here 1 1 2 2 3, right, because here it clearly says that it should do not skip ranking if the preceding ranking are identical. So I just hope that it was clear. Now all that you need to do is say method equals to dense, and here you go, and you see this gets 1 2 3 4 5 etc. Now if you want, you can take the heading for 10 and you see the data. You see over here, right? So this is exactly what you have over here. You have over here the ID ending with 227D, right over here. It has 20 SMSs and rank number 1. 847 here, it has 20 SMSs and rank number 1. Same goes over here. So I just hope that it was clear to you. It's a very simple very simple thing. If you want to learn or understand the ranking thing in very detail, that I have explained from the perspective of SAS, but I have also explained the concept. I'll put the link into the description section. Just check it out. And even if you would like me to explain the ranking, different ranking methods, particularly, do let me know into the comment section. I'll definitely try to solve that for you and make a separate video. Thank you once again for watching this. All right, so this is the question which was asked in, this is general practice question, which for which we are going to use the data for city of San Francisco. Let's focus on the question here. It says, find the average total compensation based on employee titles and gender. Okay, so first of all, let's have a look on the data. Let's see the data preview while it's opening. Okay, let me expand it a little bit. All right. So here is the data which you have. So in this you can see the age, employee title, everything is given over there, right? So now let's continue reading the question. Here it says total compensation is calculated by adding both the salary and bonus of each employee. Okay, however, not every employee receives a bonus, so disregard employees without bonuses in your calculation. Okay, employee can receive more than one bonus. Output the employee title, gender along with the average total compensation. So this is the question. Before we start understanding it or digging it deeper, let's see the data. I'm sorry. So there are two data frames. One is employee, the other one is bonus. Okay, now let's just break down the question. First it says find the average total compensation based on employee and titles. So let me copy this. This goes my first problem statement. This is my first problem statement. So here it says average of total compensation by employee titles and gender. So if you have to see the expected output, you see this is how the output is expected. Here you must have employee title, sex, and the average total compensation. So this is the first or maybe you can say ultimate goal of this question also, right? Then the next part which we need to achieve is total compensation is calculated by adding both salary and bonus. So the second part is total compensation. I will quickly copy it from here. Total compensation is going to be salary plus bonus. Okay, now the third problem statement is, so in this second part says you need to calculate the total compensation by adding salary and bonus. Next part it says is, however, not every employee receives a bonus, so disregard employees without bonuses. Okay, so delete, exclude employees without bonus. All right, this is one thing. Next, what is the next? Next is employee can receive more than one bonus. Okay, so there could be one employee who is receiving more than one bonus. So ultimately you have to find the average of total compensation by employee. So if there is one employee who is receiving more than one bonus, so then first you will have to sum it up for that particular employee, then only you will be able to find the average of all. So here what we need to do is sum of bonus. Okay, sum of bonus that we need to do, and in the output it is saying to display these many columns. These are the columns in which it is, I don't know why it hided. So it is asking to display these things, but there is one thing, like I showed you in the beginning itself, there are two data frames, bonus and the employee, so we require to merge the data frames as well. Okay, so what I would do is, here I would say fourth is merging the data set, or maybe you can put it at any sequence. Okay, merging the data frames. All right, okay, so we are done, right? Let me just say it 5. Now to solve that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it in reverse order. First we're gonna sum up the bonus, this is the data frame. All right, this is the data frame. We need to sum up the bonus first. So let's just try to solve this one by one. So first I'm going to solve the fifth problem statement. Okay, I'm going to create a data frame where I'll say bonus. And okay, before that let me show you the bonus. Let me show you this data. So as you can see over here, see the employee ID 2 is repeated twice. That means employee ID 2 have received 2 bonus. So we need to sum up this. Okay, so here I'm going to create a data frame called bonus, and I would say sf underscore bonus dot pivot table, and into that I'm going to say index equals to work ref ID. This is the one, work ref ID, and then values I'm going to use bonus, and then ag func, which the aggregation which I want to do is sum. All right, so now here we have it. Okay, I also need to do reset index. So now you can see here for employee ID number 2 there is just one entry, and both of the amount have been summed up. Okay, so now this is done. Problem number 5th is done. Now we need to solve the problem number 4th, where we have to merge the data frames. Okay, so I'm going to say merged, and here I would say sf dot merge, and the data frame which I want to merge is bonus, and left on the left hand side I'm keeping sf employees. Let me check out spelling for sf employees, whether that is right or not. Yeah, there is a problem. It should be sf employee, not the employees. Okay, left on, in the left column the primary key which I have is id, and in the right table which is bonus, into that the primary key which I have is this work ref id. All right, done. Now the next thing which it says is third number, exclude employees without bonus. So employees who does not have any bonus received, right, would not be available in the bonus data frame, but that might be available into the employee data frame. So if I do inner join, it will give me only those records which are common in both. So problem number 3rd and problem number 4th, both of these two I'm going to solve over here. Here I'm going to say and this. So problem number 4th and 3rd, both of these two things I'm going to solve over here. Here I would just say how inner. Okay, now let's just see the data. All right, here is some problem. It says write. Okay, write on. I need to say write on. All right, now we have our data merged, and we have the list of only those employees which were common in both. That means only those employees who have received the bonus. Now I believe you are getting the point. Okay, now third number is also solved. Second thing is total compensation. Now we need to find the total compensation. So in the merged data frame I'm going to create another column. I would say total comp, and into that I would say merged dot salary plus merged dot bonus. So salary column from the merged data frame and bonus column from the same data frame, I'm adding them up together. Okay, now let me make it a little bigger, and let me show the whole data frame merged. Okay, now let's just see what is happening. All right, now you see over here total compensation column is created right over here, and if you see bonus amount is 2500, salary is 2200. If you sum them up all together, it is becoming 4700. Very good. Now the first problem, this was solved. Okay, let me remove this also. The last problem which we need to solve, oops, please bear with that. The next thing which we need to do is this, average of total compensation by employee title and gender. So let's say merge dot pivot table, and into that I'm going to say index, two things which we require into the index. Number one, employee title, so let's put employee title, and then number two, we require gender, for which I'm going to use the sex column, and let me show you that it's right over here. Then the next thing which we need to perform is values. We need to say which column that on which we want to perform the calculation. So for that I'm going to use total compensation, and then what sort of aggregation that I want to perform, that I need to tell in ag_func parameter, and that will be mean. All right, we are all set. Total comp, spelling error. Now we got that. Okay, let me just see if I need to put it this way. ag_func, in this we need to show only this thing, mean, and this is done actually. Now I need to show only two or three columns. Okay, so let me first do this, reset index, reset index. All right, reset index is done. Now let me keep only those columns which are needed over here. So that you can do by just saying, okay, I got it, why it's showing like this. Now it will be done. You see over here, I previously it was showing all the columns because I was printing this table, the entire table. That's why it was showing all the columns. But now you see those are removed, and when I do this, this is what I am getting. You see, auditor, mail, etc. But there is one more thing which we need to do, that is sorting on the tables. You see, okay, sorting is not needed because our data matches this, right? It has not asked to sort the data. Okay, so I think we are done with this. Now let's just check the solution. Ooh, it is correct. You see, the solution is correct. Bravo. So I just hope that it was pretty simple for you to understand, and we splitted that into the steps, and these were very simple steps, isn't it? You see, first what we are doing is sum the bonus, then merge the table, then find total compensation, and then find the average of that total compensation by employee title and gender. That's it. Thank you very much for watching this. Here it says this is the question which was asked in Meta or Facebook interview, and the difficulty level is medium. The question says find the date with the highest total energy consumption from Meta or Facebook data centers. So there are three data centers for which the data is given. One is for Europe, the other one is for Asia, third one I'm not sure what does NA stands for. I'm not sure if it is Nigeria or what. Then the next thing, so across all these three data centers, what is the maximum data consumption? That's something which we need to find. This is what it is saying in this problem statement. Then it says output the date along with the total energy consumption across all data centers. So across all data centers, what were those dates when the energy consumption was highest? Okay, so let's say if you have let's say what all are the things that we need to do. So first task is, let me just divide it into the task. Okay, so the first task is combine the data frames. Second task is find the maximum. All right, when we combine the data frames, then after that there could be possibility that on same day on three different data centers there could be different energy consumption. but we need to find total energy consumption across the data centers. So that's why we need to sum the energy consumptions by date, right? So sum the consumption by date. Then the third thing which we need to do is find maximum, find max consumption. Fourth thing which we need to do is fourth thing which we need to do is filter the filter filter the data frame for max consumption. Why I'm saying filter the data frame for max consumption and not saying filter the date only, because in the data frame we have only two columns, right? If you can see over here, in the data frame we have only two columns, date and consumption, and what it is asking us to output is, here it is saying that we need to output the date along with the total energy consumption. So here we are finding the total energy consumption by each of the date, and once you are done with finding the maximum, if you just filter it in your output, there will be only two columns which will be matching to the expected output, which is this, right? So let's just quickly start with this. First step is combine the data frames. So I'm going to say combined equals to pd.concat, and into that I'm going to put all of the data frame names. First I'm going to start with this one. I just don't need to put it into the quotation, I just need to simply say this, and here it will be Asia. Then the next one is NA, which could possibly be Nigeria, I'm not sure. All the data frames are combined now. Then the next thing which says is sum the consumption by date. So let's call summary equals to combined dot pivot table, and into that I'm going to say index equals to date, because by date we need to find the total consumption. Okay, then the column on which we want to perform the calculation will be consumption. Okay, and then the next thing, kind of aggregation which we want to do is we want to do sum, and then we need to do reset index. Done. Let's just see the data at the bottom side. Here it is showing the data. Now we are done with summing the values. Okay, next thing which we need to do is find the maximum. So for that we're gonna say summary dot consumption dot max, and see, let's see what is the maximum that we are getting. We are getting 1250. Bravo, we are almost done. Now let's just store it in a value. Let's call it consumption. Okay, now this is stored into that. Now the next thing which we need to do is filter the data frame for maximum consumption. So simple, you just need to say summary, then again you need to say summary, and into that you put the column in which you want to filter the data, and then you just put the maximum value, the value for which you want to perform the filtering, right? And let's just say that, okay, here is what we got. This is exactly matching to the expected output. Let's just check if this is correct. Yeah, it is correct. Bravo, we solved this. I just hope that it was easy for you to understand. Just in case of any doubt, put that into the comment section. I'll definitely try to help you out. So here this question was asked in Yelp interview, and the difficulty level is medium again. Let's read out the question. Here it says find the top business categories based on the total number of reviews. So in the data you can expect that there will be business categories mentioned. There will be one column which would have business category, and then there will be one column in which the reviews will be given, right? And now you would require to sum up the number of reviews by each business category. Okay, then output the category along with the total number of reviews, and then you output that. Order by total reviews in descending order. This is pretty much simple to understand. Now before I start writing the steps to solve this thing, let me show you the data first, because this is going to be very interesting, right? You would enjoy this. See the out. First of all, let's just see what sort of output is expected over here. You see over here The categories are written as restaurant, food, pizza, Chinese, Japanese. So you can expect that in the data the categories must be mentioned like this, and then you can sum up their total number of reviews, and this is this kind of data you can, this kind of output you will get. But let's just have a look at the data also. I'm just going to preview this data over here. Now you see this is the data, this is how the data looks like. Let's see where the business category is. You see over here the business category, this is how the business category looks like. For example, you see over here it has how many business category combined? 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Restaurant is one of them, but in the expected output what you see is it's not that way. Restaurants is one separate category, right? So how do you manage this? That's where it becomes very interesting. Let me help you understand this. So you see the data is given like this. Here in the business category, two things are combined: auto detailing and automotive. What we need to do is, and each of these two have got 4 reviews each. But if you have to find total number of reviews for automotive, you won't be able to find that using this data. So what you need to do is you need to transform this data in this format. Now here what you see, this same thing has been splitted in two parts and two rows are created for the same thing. You see, auto detailing and automotive. Now when you do the summary on this, then for automotive you will get 4, and for auto detailing you will get 4. If automotive is repeated, then all of them will be summed up. So when you put a summary on this, you will get this kind of summary. Now what you see over here, you see this. Let me try to highlight it. For that I would require a pen. Now you see automotive is 32, right? But an automotive is 32. What you see, auto detailing is 32, caterers are 196, dry cleaning 256 reviews, right? But if you keep this combined like this, you would not be able to get this kind of summary. All right, so for that purpose you need to do this activity. This activity is called split and explode. So if you want to figure out for by yourself, I would say just pause this video, try to figure it out. By splitting, you would require to split this in two part, and then you would require to bring them one below another. So you can pause the video, you can try it yourself. I'm going to solve this. So let me take you over here. Now I'm going to write the steps how we need to solve this. So first thing which we need to do is, because this is only one data frame, so first thing which we need to do is split and explode the category. That is the only trick we have over here, how we have to do. And now for that I want you to be till the end of this video. This is going to be very, very important and interesting one. Split and explode the categories. Second one which we need to do is sum the reviews by categories. And then what we need to do is output the categories along with the total number of reviews, order by total reviews in descending order, and sort in descending. So in 2 steps we are going to cover that up, okay? But each of these 2 steps honestly is going to be little bigger. So let me just pick up the data frame name so that I don't have to write it. I will pick Yelp business. Let me just ensure that I don't have any other data frame. Okay, so this is the data frame which I have. Now we have to deal with 2 columns. One is categories and review count. Let's keep that into the mind. I'm going to put the data frame name over here, and then the 2 columns which we need to work on is this, and then the review count. And I'm going to just comment this out so that I don't need to come back over here again and again. Now I'll remove this. Now let's just start writing the codes. First thing which we need to do is split and explode the categories. For that I will create the data frame over here. I'm going to make it simple. Okay, in the data frame there are a lot of columns, but we need to deal with only 2 columns, right? So I'm just going to subset those 2 columns. Those 2 columns are nothing but categories First step, I'm going to subset them, categories and review count. Let's just run that. All right, so you see over here, here we got the category, and here is what we have, the count. Now the next thing which we need to do is we need to perform a split and explode on this particular column. So how can we do that? So for that we're gonna say Yelp, and into that I'm going to create a new column which is called new category, and into that I'm going to say Yelp dot, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Okay, what is correctly? Categories dot str dot split, and let's just see how the data is going. Now you see how the data looks like. Let me print the whole data frame. Okay, so you see here categories and new cat looks like this. Okay, now the next thing which we need to do is we need to explode this new cat, so that this this detailing will come below auto, and then automotive will come below that. Okay, let me show you that quickly. Yelp, I'm going to say Yelp2 equals to Yelp, because I don't want to temper the original data frame also. So I'm going to say Yelp dot new cat. All right, here I need to say explode, and into that I need to put that column on to which I want to explode. Boom. Now you see over here there is some problem. Okay, so in split statement I didn't use any special character. So okay, let me show you the data once again. So while splitting I need to use this semicolon as a separator. If I don't use it, it by default it takes the space as the separator. So that's what I need to do. So for that I will use that particular thing, and now let's run this. Now you see this thing is coming, auto detailing and automotive. Now again I would require to print the whole data for you. Now you can see it, right? Now let me just create a subset of it, not subset, but I need to explode it. Okay, now you see auto detailing and automotive, both of these two are over here. Bang, bingo. Now we are done with this. Next thing is pretty simple, right? If you want you can stop watching this video now, but if you don't know how to summarize it, you can continue watching it. So I'm going to say Yelp2 dot pivot table, and into that I'm going to say index equals to new cat. Then the values which I am going to use is review count, and then aggregation which I need to do is sum them up, and then at the end I need to say reset index. Let's run this. Boom, you see active life is this. Now do we need to sort this in descending order? I think yes. Here is order by total reviews in descending order. Yes, we need to sort this as well. So let's just sort this. I'm just going to copy this thing. I don't want to type it again and again. I'm going to say sort values into this. I'm going to put this, and here you're going to say ascending equals to false. Let's run this. Boom, we got it. You see restaurants 1703 etc. Let's try to check whether this solution is correct or not. Let me check this. Boom, boom, we got it corrected. See, all are green, which means our answer is absolutely right. Bravo, we did it. So I just hope that it was easy for you to understand. Just in case if you got any doubt, put that into the comment section. All right, so let's have a look at another question from the same company. The question asked for the same company interview. Now this question says find the top 5 states with the most 5-star businesses. Output the state name along with the number of 5-star business, and order records by the number of 5-star business in descending order. All right, so in case there are ties in the number of business, return all the unique states. If two states have the same result, sort them in alphabetical order. So let's break down this question, okay? So what it says is the end result should be this, okay? Here is what it is saying. You need to figure out what are the top 5 states which have the most number of 5-star businesses, and in the output you have to produce these things: state name along with the number of 5-star business and order records by the number of 5-star businesses. So let's have a look at the data first. So here you see this is how the data looks like. Here you have stars given to each of the business. Here are the business IDs, business names, and here you get the states, okay? So let's break down the question and try to understand what exactly that we have to achieve over here. So first thing which we need to do is we need to look for 5-star businesses. Then we need to take count by state, count businesses by state, and then we need to filter for top 5, okay? Top 5 states which have most number of 5-star businesses. All right, now while we are doing this thing, the third step in this, there is a catch, okay? So let's say till this point we are done, and this is what the data we get. Now like you can see over here, here are the list of states, and here are the 5-star businesses each of these states have. For example, the state AZ has 10 businesses which were 5-star. Same goes for this. Now the catch is we need to see this is the entire list from the data, okay? Now we need to, in the final output, we need to keep only top 5 records. So for example, 1 2 3 4 5 we got till here, okay? Till here. But at the same time, if you see for this state also has 3 5-star businesses, okay? And 3 5-star businesses are included in top 5. So why should it not be part of top 5? What's wrong with this? They should also be part of top 5. That's what your question says over here. So here it says number of 5-star etc. in descending order. In case, here you say in case there are ties in the number of businesses, right? So here you see there are ties in the number of businesses, you see. Then return all the unique states. So it is asking you to include all the unique states. Though from the perspective of number of businesses, we will keep only top 5 states, right? We keep only top 5 states, but the total number of 5-star business which are part of top 5 is also this. So we would require to include this one as well, okay? Other than this it also says if two states have the same result, sort them in alphabetical order. For example, you see there are 3 states which has same number, okay? So these state names must be sorted in the alphabetical order. For example, here you see this is already sorted in alphabetical order. What if you had first this record, then you had this, and then you had this, okay? Then we also need to ensure that it is sorted in alphabetical order. So 2 level of sorting has to be done in this. So I guess this was pretty clear to you. Let's just start with the coding work, okay? So here I'm going to take the data frame name. Let me just close that. Here I will just take data frame name, and into this first we need to filter for the 5-star business, okay? So for that I'm going to say star equal 5. Now we got this. Stars, it should not be star, it should be stars. So before we proceed further, let's see the count of total number of records into the original data frame. what is the total number of records that we have in the original data frame? You see 100 records. Now when we filter for this 5-star, what is the total number of record that we are getting? Let's see that. That will help you understand whether. So only 32 businesses are there which were 5-star marked. Okay, now we are done with this. Then the second problem statement says count business by state. So you all know that I mostly use pivot table, right? So I'm going to take the same thing, pivot table. You can also use count values, you can also use group by, but pivot table is something I find most convenient one. Index equals to state, and then in the values I can take anything, any variable I can pick, for example stars, let's say stars, and then ag func I need to use count, and then at the end I would require to do reset index, or let me show it to you first. So like you can see over here, here are the number of businesses we got. You see number of businesses we got. Don't go by this, this doesn't mean 10-star, it is 10 businesses with 5-star. Now you are not able to see the states over here, right? So for that we need to do reset index, then we get business name as well, sorry, state name as well, right? So we got that. Next problem statement is says is order this in descending order. So what we can do is sort values, and over here I want to sort it on stars, and here I'm going to say ascending equals to false. You see, so here is what we got, like you can see, right here the states and the stars we got. Super. Now what we need to also ensure is wherever the same number of businesses in multiple states, we also need to ensure that the state names are arranged in alphabetical order, right? So star, after star I also need to put state over here, and let's, because these are more than one item, so I need to put that into the list, and this false will say descending order by count of business, but for state it should be in ascending order. So here I would require to say true. Let's just run this. You see, so though here the data was already correct, systematic, so it didn't give us the problem, but in real life you may not get all the time similar kind of data, so you should follow this thing. Okay, now this is done, and after this what we need to take is, let me just store this in a separate data frame called help. Okay, now after this I need to pick the, because I have to include, see top 5 will end over here, right? But I need to include all those businesses which have any of these values, right? So for that what I need to do is I need to take a unique list of this count. Okay, so what I'm going to do is yelp dot stars, I'm going to say stars dot unique, and then I'm going to say to list. Okay, and here I'm going to say top business, top states, or let's just say tops. Okay, so here is what we got, but we also need to ensure that we take only n largest, right? Top stars, and then here I would, okay, let me do this way. Okay, so here I'm going to print first Yelp. So first I will go ahead and pick the top 5 businesses which will end till here, till this point. Okay, till this point. So here I'm going to say Yelp dot n largest. How many points I want to pick? 5, and this is on what column? So stars. All right, and then out of this I need to keep only this thing. So now you can see over here it shows only till OH state. So I need to keep only one column which is stars. You see, now we got only stars. Now I need to take a unique list of this. So I'm going to say unique, and I will convert it to list, and let's store it in a variable called tops. So here is what we got. So what we have is 10, 5, 4, 3. Now we need to filter for this thing in the in this data, in the main data which we have. So let's say if a yelp oops yelp dot stars dot is in, this is the function you should use, is in tops. Let's just see. Here is what we got, and let me just store it in a data frame. Before that, because this is just telling you true and false, but I need to keep only true part. Okay, so for that, this is what we need to do. Now if you see over here, here is what you got. You see, here you got AZ 10 5 etc, and you see all the 3 businesses you have which had same number of counts. So we are sorted, this is done, right? And now we gonna check this whether this is right or not. So this seem to be right because all our records are green. So this is how you can solve it. Main catch was this. Okay, I just hope that it was easy for you to understand. Just in case of any doubt, put that into the comment section. Here we got another question right from Wine Magazine. Difficulty level is medium. All that we need to do is, let's go through the question first. Here it says find all wineries which produces wines by processing aromas of plum, cherry, rose or hazelnut, right? So we need to look for these aromas, okay, in the description. In data there is one column given which has description, and into that somewhere it would be mentioned, but there is certain condition. To make it more simple, here it tries to explain it. Look only for singular form of mentioned aromas. Okay, so hint, let's see the hint which will help us to understand it further. It says if one of the specified word is just a substring of another word, this should not be a hit but a miss. So what it means is, let's say let me take you this. So let's say if this is the description which has been given, right, this is the, and into that we want to look for rose. So if something is given like this, see rose as an independent word, then we need to find that, then it should tell you, it should give you a match. If this is written as something like nice, sorry, let's say something like this, nice rose. So you see rose is present into this complete text, but that is present as a substring, right, as a part of this complete string. So this should not be a match, this should be a mismatch. Okay, they should not be found as a match. So here it gives the example: hot, titanic and simple, which cherry jam and currant flavors accompanied by high tart acidity and chill pepper alcohol hit, right? So into this, if you see, cherry is given over here and this is an independent word, so this should be a hit for us, means this should be coming in our output. Okay, therefore the winery Bella Piazza is expected in the result. So this particular description belongs to this particular winery, right? So whenever we write the query, it should be found as a match, right? So I hope that it was clear. Now before we proceed further, let me show you a glimpse of the data. Here is the one row from data. Now here you see the description. Here the description is given. We need to look for these words here, what we have, what has been given over here, right? These words we need to look into this description. Okay, and we need to produce in final output, we only need to produce the matching winery name of the matching records. Okay, so let me try to explain you, help you understand it very quickly. For better understanding, here what I have done is I have created a sample data which has only 2 records and 2 columns. So first column is winery, second column is description. Let's try to find out of these 2 description which one is having a word called blackberry. Okay, so let's try to find that. So let's say into df I'm going to create another column which is called match, and into that I would say df which is the column we want to search the text in? Description. Okay, so let's say description. All right, then there is a function which is called contains, but this function will not work because description is a series. This function works on string only. So for that, what we need to do is we need to use str, okay, and then contains. And in contains, whatever that you want to search for, you can just write that into the double quotes, right? So let's write blackberry is something which we want to look for, right? So and we need to put this as a raw string. Now let's see what the output says. For that, we will just run this. Okay, so now if you see here, for the first record it says true, for the second record it says false, because in the first description we have blackberries, in the second we don't. So hope this was clear. Now let's take another situation. Okay, for betterment, let me just say reach. Okay, and over here I would say blackberry, right? This is what I'm going to say now. So here we've just found the blackberry. Now for, let's say I have this thing written in capital letter, right? Now if you try to find, we are not getting that, right? You see, it says false. We don't have a match for this. So what is the solution for that? In that case, what is the solution? Tell me that quickly. Okay, so for that there is a solution. What we can do is, first, this is the description. We need to convert that. What we are looking for, that is in a small letter. Either you write this also in capital letter, or you convert whole string in small letter. So I'm going to choose the second one, where I will convert whole string in the small letter, right? So for that, again, there is another string function which is called lower, right? Keep in mind, this lower will also not work directly on description. So whatever series that you want to use on, you need to convert that into the string by using str function, and then on that you need to use the lower function. But this again becomes the series, right? So again we need to convert it into the str so that we could use contains function. Now if you run this, despite of having this written in capital letter, it is showing you as a match. Hope this was clear to you. Now let me just convert it in small letter, convert it back into the small letter. Now there is another problem. If you notice, previously it said that it should not be a substring of a word, right? So for example, you see it is written like this, round blackberry. Now if you see, both of these two words are together. Let's run this and let's see if it gives a match. It still says a match, while it should not be. We don't require this. In this condition we need to say that it's not a match, right? So how to figure out that? So for that, what you might be thinking is just give a space over here and space over here. Then in that case it will look for only independent words, right? Let's try to run this. So here it says false, which is okay, right? Here this is not an independent word, so that's why it is not giving a match. So to fix that, if you see this and if you run this, here it gives a match, right? Bingo, it is sorted. But here is the thing, let's think, I mean, something like this we don't want to have, right? But let's take another situation where there could be a situation where it is written like this. You see, it is like this. So this is connected to inverted comma, right? Quotation. It is along with quotation, but this is an independent word. It's not a substring. In that case, let's see what happens. It says false because we have given blank space at both of the side, right? So it's not giving us a match. So what to do in that scenario? So for that, there is another case. The best recommended way is to use the boundary regular expression. So you don't have to do anything, just put /b, and at the end also put /b, right? So here it might be confused, it might be looking confusing for you, right? But don't get confused, because see, this b is independent from blackberry, okay? So you just need to put /b at the beginning and at the end of this word which you are looking for. Now you run this, it says true, right? Despite of this being selected. Now even if you put space over here and run this, it says true. Doesn't matter whatever you do, right? So this is also sorted. Now let's say we have to look for more than one word. Here we were just trying to look for the blackberry. Now what if we also want to look for reach? Or maybe we want to look for, what is the word that we can say, let's say we want to look for plenty as well, right? So let's try to put that. So how can we find that? So for that there is this pipe. You can use this pipe after that word. Remember, not after this boundary b, but just after the first word, okay? And put it over here. Now you need to enclose both of these two words in a parenthesis operator. Now have a look, have a careful look over here. Like you can see over here, right? So this is how you require it. Now let's just run this. So you see over here you get match for both of these two. This is exactly what you have to do. Now in the final output you need to find only, you need to produce only binary for the true cases, right? So for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this plenty so that we could get only one match, right? And now we need to put a filter into this, right? So here I'm going to say why description, no, not description, but the match should be equals to true. All right, and so this gives us the first row. Now after that what we require is we require only one column, which is binary. Now let's run this. Here is what we got. So this is the code which we need to run. It's as simple as that. Now let's take this and go back over here. Though here I have already written this, so I'm just going to remove this. And here this is our data frame. I'm going to just store that into a df, right? So that I don't need to change that into the code, right? And now let's just try to run this. So here it is written as blackberry, but what we need to look for is these words, right? Here it says plum, cherry, and this words. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'll not do that. Okay, and then let's just come back over here quickly and replace the blackberry with all of these things, right? So instead of comma we need to have pipe, or is also not going to work, right? And this thing. Now let's just try to run this. Here's what we got. You see here we got the answer. Now let's try to check if that is correct. Let me remove this. Okay, now I believe the code is pretty much visible to you. Right, now let's run this. Let's check. So it says it is correct. The answer is correct, all green, right? You see, so this is how we solved this particular. This was very important. This was something which can be very useful on job and could be tricky in the question, right? Usually when you try to find something now, then it looks for the substring also, but here we wanted to look for an independent word. So main highlight over here was this boundary regular expression. So please always keep this thing in the mind. I just hope that it was easy and simple explanation for you. Just in case of any doubt, put that into the comment section. This particular question was asked in two interviews. One is in Amazon, the other one is in Shopify. No doubt they are the e-com platforms. Now over here let's read the question. Here it says find the customer with highest daily total order cost between 1st Feb 2019 to 1st May 2019. All right, so if customer had more than one order on a certain day, sum the order cost on daily basis, output customer's first name, total cost of their items, and the date. So three things it is expected that you produce in the output. For simplicity, you can assume that every first name in the dataset is unique. This is the question. Now let's just understand this. So here in this question there are two data frames. So first thing which you're gonna solve is to merge the data set, right? So there are two data frames, so apparently you will have to merge the data sets. Before I take you to this explanation further, right, let me show you the expected output. This is how the output should look like. The first name, the date, and the amount of total order. Okay. So what primarily it is saying is there is a table for customers and there is the table for all the orders which they have placed. So there is a high possibility that one customer might have placed multiple orders on a single day. So that's where it is saying that you need to sum them all together. Okay, so what are the things that you gonna do in to solve this question? First thing, you have two data sets, right? So you need to merge both of them. Then you filter the data for this particular time frame. Okay, once you got that filter, then you need to filter that data for maximum total order cost. Okay, so three things: merge the data, filter it, and find the maximum, then again filter it. Okay, let's just have a quick look on the data frame. This is how the customer's data looks like, you see, and this is how the orders data look like, right? So let's just go ahead and explore that. As usual, what I would do is I'll first take this data into Pandas and solve it over there, and then come back over here and post it. Okay, how can you get the data into the Pandas? For that, what you're gonna do is, let's run customers, run the whole code, and here you can just click this. It's gonna produce the data from over here, right? Same thing you're gonna do for orders, and here is the data that you got, and here is what you have. Now what you need to do is copy paste these two data sets right into Excel and then import that in Pandas. That's exactly what I have done. So let's just jump to the Pandas and try to solve it. Sorry, Jupyter Notebook, and try to solve this. So we are going to solve this particular problem statement in 4 simple steps. First, we're going to import the dependencies and the data. Then we will do a little bit of exploration, and then we will merge that. Then we're going to summarize the data because we have to find the sum. Then we're going to find the maximum and filter the data. 4 things. Okay, let's just start quickly. First, I will just import Pandas as PD. Then I'm going to import the data frames one by one. First, I will import customers. Then I will import orders. Don't worry about these errors. Okay, all right, so to save your time, here is what I did. I simply imported, so this is the Excel file which I have created. Into that I created 2 sheets. One is for customer, the other one is for order, and here I have imported both of them. To import the data, you can simply say pd.read Excel. If it is in CSV, you can say pd.read CSV. Okay, so now here the data is imported and we can see the sample data available over here. So in the customer's data, you have first name, right, and you have the ID. In the orders data, you have ID, cost ID, order date, and total order cost. So what we need to do is we need to merge both of these two data frames, and we need to bring first name, okay, then date and cost. ID is something which you would require to bring apparently, right? But you see there is one thing which you should notice. ID column is common in both of the data frame, and in the second data frame you have another ID which is called cost ID. So you need to figure out which one is the ID you're going to use to merge the data frame. So let's just try to do a little bit of exploration. So the exploration which we require to do is on orders dataset because of the customer ID. So I basically I want to check whether that which one of these two should be used to merge the data frame. So let's just see how can we figure that out. So let's say orders dot group by, and here I'm going to say id dot count, and let's here put it order, any of the column you can just put, right? So what you see is in ID you have just one entry for each of the ID, while if you remember in the question it gave you the hint that if customer had more than one order on a certain day, sum the orders, which means it's not possible that each ID would have just one entry. So let's just try to check it based on cost ID. You see, now here for each of the cost ID you have more than one transactions, right? Except these 5. So primarily we should go ahead and use the cust id. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. So to merge that, what you can do is, let's say merged, let's just call it merged data frame. Okay, and then customers data I'm going to use at the left hand side. I will be using the left join. Why should I use the left join? Because I want to bring the orders for all of the customers. So the customer data is available into the left table and order is available into the right table. So that's why I chose to go for left join. Okay, so here I'm going to say customers dot merge, and into this the data frame which I want to merge is orders, and out of that the columns which I need to pick is cust id, order date, and total order cost. Cust id, order date, and total order cost. All right, I think I'm done. I just don't need to use this. And from the customers also I'll pick only the specific ones. Okay, what are the specific ones that I need to pick is id and then the first name. Let's see if this works. It throws some error, id and first name. Let me see if I need to put it in double square bracket, and over here as well. Let's just see, this throws an error, no common. Oops, how stupid I am. Let's just try to put id. So this is merged, but this is not correct, right? So what I'm going to do is, we need to specify what is the column that I want to use from the left table to make the join, and what is the column that I want to use from right table to make the join. So for that I need to say left on, please bear with this, I'm letting it autocomplete. Okay, left on id, then I'm going to say right on cust id, and then how I want to make a join, left join, right? Let's just see, and here I'm going to say merge dot head. You see, we got this, the data is merged. id, first name, cust id, order date, total order cost. Now we need to filter the data for a specific time frame. So for that I'm going to say query, and into that I would say, let's just pick the dates from here itself, these two. Okay, and this I'm going to replace with order date. So what I'm trying to say is, order date should be between 1st Feb 2019 to 1st May 2019. Okay, so for that what I need to say is this. All right, if you find it difficult, you can just let me know into the comment. I will help you solve this. So I just need to put these two dates into the quotations. Let me just put this. Oops, here's what we got. Right now the next thing which we're gonna do is, let's just check the shape, how many records that we have over here. Oops. 21 records we got. Okay, now the next thing which we need to do is summarize the data. So for the summarization purpose I'm going to use merge dot pivot table, and into that, into the pivot table I need to use index parameter, and in that there are two things which we need to put. First one is first name, and then the next one we need to put is order date, because you remember in the expected output it was given these two columns were given, right? And values I'm going to use total order cost, and function which I need to use is sum. We got that, you see. Now what I'll do is, I'll just say reset index Yeah, we got that. Now let's just put it into the summary, and for the summary I would take top 5 records. You got it? Now the next thing which we need to do is we're gonna find the maximum value out of total order cost, right? Whatever the max value is, because the data is already filtered, right? Data we have already filtered. Now we need to find the maximum value and then we filter the whole data. Okay, so how do you find the maximum? So for that, what you're gonna do is say summary dot total order cost dot max, and you got 275. Let's just store this in a variable called maximum value, and let's just print this max val. You got it? Next thing which we need to do is we need to filter the data frame, right? So data frame name is summary. Into that summary, into that you're gonna say total order cost equals to max val, and you hit enter. Here's what you got. You see, this is exactly what the output which was expected. ZIL 19th April 2019 to 75. ZIL 19th April 2019 to 25. Now let's quickly put this solution into this portal and see if that is correct or not. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. Now this patch, we are almost there. Then we're gonna see this patch. Let me just maximize this for you over here. Now let's just execute the code. The code is executed. Oh, there seem to be little. Let's just see if it says the answer is right or wrong. Yeah, it accepted the answer. You see, we got it right. So though over here it is showing these values, but it hardly matters, right? It's not an issue for here. That is something which you can truncate always, right? So it accepted the answer which we just submitted, and let's just see your submission over here. We have the 100% submission score. All right, so I think we solved this question also, and you managed to clear the interview for Shopify and Amazon. Congratulations. Hello everybody. Now here we got another question. This question was asked in Salesforce and the difficulty level was medium. Now let's just go ahead and see what the question is. Here it says find the highest target achieved by employee or employees who works under the manager ID 13. So let's say there is a manager whose ID is 13 and under him there are 10 employees, right? And the highest achieved target was, let's say, X. So we need to figure out what all are the employees under this manager who achieved the target X. That's what we need to find. So how are we going to figure out that? So and in the final output it is asking us to produce output the first name of the employee and the target which he or she has achieved. The solution should show the highest target achieved under manager ID 13 and which employee achieved it. Let's have a look at the expected output. What is the expected? What is the output which is expected? It's as simple as that. So first of all, it says the first name and the target which is, so like you can see the highest target was 400 and all of these three folks have achieved this target. Okay, now the next thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a very quick view of the data, how the data looks like. So here's the data. That this is how the data looks like, right? So you can see this data. So here we have the manager ID and here we have first, not the first name, here we have the first name and here we have the target. All right, I just hope that you have seen this data and understood. If not, then slow down the video and see it, or maybe you can pause it also. Now this thing I'm going to achieve in 3 steps. First, filter the employees under manager ID 13. Okay, then find the maximum value, find the max target achieved, and then find the employees who achieved that. Okay, so in three simple steps. Why I'm going to do this in three steps? Because I want to take a very layman approach so that it could be simple, right? So let's just start with it. First thing, here is the data frame. Now I need to look for those employees who are working under manager ID 13. So two things which I need out of that is first name and the target which they have achieved under manager ID equals to 13. All right, just a second here. I need to take this for later purpose, and over here I just need to use manager ID, nothing much, manager ID. So here I'm simply trying to filter all those employees who are working under manager ID, and the two columns which I require is first name and the target, not all the columns which I require. Okay, now let's just hit enter and fetch the data. Bravo, it just gave an error. What it says is false. What is it? Why it is saying false? Let me just see it very quickly. Salesforce employees, and inside that, okay, so I just need to say this thing again over here. Now these are all the employees who are working under manager ID 13. Okay, now I need to keep only two columns, which is first name and the target. Good, we are good, right? Now the next thing which we need to do is find the maximum target achieved. So let me just put this in a separate data frame. So whatever I just queried over here, I'm going to put that in manager 13. Okay, this is the data frame which I'm going to create, and out of manager 13 I'm going to find the maximum in target. I'm going to pick the target column out of it, and then I will find the max value. What is the maximum value? 400 that I got. I'm going to put that in a variable called maximum target. Okay, max target which is achieved. And now the next thing, again I'm going to put a filter on, but this time I'm going to put a filter on this data frame, not on the original. And into this data frame I'm going to use target value. Target should be equals to max, this one which I just created over here, right? This equals to this, whatever I get equals to this, that's what I'm going to produce right over here. And here is the answer which we got. You got it? So first thing what we did is we took out all those employees who are working under manager 13. Then we took specific columns which we would require for our output. Then out of this new data frame which we created, I found out what is the maximum target which have been achieved. And then I found out who all are the employees who have achieved this maximum target. That is it. I just hope that it was very simple for you to understand. In case if you got any question, put that into the comment section. All right, so the next question comes over here is, this was something which was asked in Twitter and Asana in both of these two interviews. Okay, so here it says find the employee with highest salary per department. Okay, and in the output it says produce department name, employee's first name along with the corresponding salary. So see, this is a relatively simple question. The only problem is over here we have to find employees in each of the department who is earning maximum amount of salary. All right, so we are going to solve this in two parts. What are those two parts? So those two parts will be, first I will find maximum salary by department. Okay, and then merge with original data and get the employee name. So let's just solve this. Okay, so employee is before that let me show you the data sample. Okay, so here is how the data looks like. So here you see first name, last name, etc. Everything is available over here. Things which we need to notice is department, and then comes the first name, and then comes the salary. So for each of the department, we need to pick that person who is earning the most handsome salary. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So first thing which we gonna do is find the department with, I mean, maximum salary by each of the department. Okay, that's what we are going to do. Okay, so over here, if you would see in each of the department, there will be multiple entry for each of the department. For example, for sales, you can see there are 2 entries. For management, there are 3 entries, and so on. So there will be many more entries. Okay, let me just find it very quickly. So what I'm going to do is employee dot pivot table, the favorite one, pivot table, pivot table, and into that I'm going to say index equals to, let's say, department, and the values which I'm going to use is salary, spelling is incorrect, salary, and the aggregated function which I'm going to use is max. Let's run this. So here is what we got. These are the 3 departments. In these 3 departments altogether, there are just 3 departments, and in each of these 3 departments, these are the maximum salary which we have. Okay, I'm just telling you department, but you don't see any department over here. So for that, what I will do is I will just say reset index, because it is pivot, so that's why this department has been created as index. Let me run this now. You would see the department along with the maximum salary. So in audit, the maximum salary is 1100, right? In management, the maximum salary is 250,000. This is quite good. Now we need to find who is the employee in management who is earning this much of the amount. So for that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna merge this data with the original data frame, which is employee. So let me just put it in a separate data frame. I would say highest salary, highest salary. Okay, now the next step which we need to do is merge with original data and get the employee name. So original data is employee dot, I'm going to say merge, and into this I'm going to use this highest salary data frame. I'll quickly copy it from here and I'll just paste it, and then what is it that we can use to merge this data? So in each of these 2 tables, we have department and salary. So that is the key which we are going to use. So I will just say on, and into this, because I have to use more than one column, so I'll put them in a list, department comma salary. All right, now from the employee table, I don't need everything. What I need is just the department, because you remember in the output it said produce only 3 things: department, first name, and the salary. So I'm going to put those things over here, department, and I would say first name, and then the last thing, which is salary. Let's just run this. Here is what we got. Now let's just check the solution here, whether that is correct or not. Bravo, this is super correct. You see over here, management, in the management, Richard is the person who is earning highest amount of salary. Say in sales, Mick is the person who is earning highest amount of salary, and in audit, Sandler is the person who is earning maximum amount of salary. Here we got another question. This question was asked in Walmart's interview, and the difficulty level is medium, right? So let's see. The question looks very simple. Here it says find the employees who are earning more than their manager, right? So all those employees whose salary is more than their managers, that's what we need to filter out. In output, it is expected to have only employees first name along with the corresponding salary. So let me show you. This problem statement looks very simple, right? But what is tricky is both of the name, manager and the employees, both of their names are in the same column. Let me show you the data in Excel first, and let me help you understand this thing first. Okay, so here we have the data. All right, so for example, let's say the main trick is finding out who is whose manager, right? So for example, let's say here comes this Sarah. This is the data, okay? This is the whole data, and now if you see over here this entry, so here Sarah is one employee whose ID is 20, and now if you want to know who is his or her manager, then somebody, her manager's ID or his manager's ID is 19, right? So some employee in this list whose ID over here is 19, that person is the manager of Sarah. So what we need to do is, let's take the manager, let's take her manager's ID, which is 19, and come into the ID column and look for that 19. So George is Sarah's manager. Let's repeat it again, okay? So for example, let's say Molly. We want to find who is the manager for Molly. So Molly's manager ID is 13. So let's go back to the ID column and try to find 13 over here. All right, so here Kathy is the manager of Molly, right? I just hope it was simple. Now to find who is the employee whose salary is more than his or her manager, so for that what I'm going to do is I'll pick, in here comes the employee title, so over here I'll come and I'll filter all the managers. I'll take this and I'll put it in a separate sheet. So the trick is, over here the manager ID becomes the ID of the managers, right? So what I'm going to do is, on manager ID I'm going to run a VLOOKUP, right? And from this sheet I will use ID as the key column and I'll pick the salary, okay? And now let's just run that. So here, now that we have got it, now what we need to do is compare column H and column O. So I'm showing you this thing in Excel. Just after this I'll solve this thing in Python, okay? So here why I'm solving this, just because you could, you know, understand, right? So what I need to do is I need to say this should be greater than this. So it says false. Wherever it is true, we need to filter that. So let's just filter it. There is true. Okay, so here we got Richard is someone whose salary is more than his manager. So here Richard earns 25,000 and his manager earns just 20,000. Now if you want to know who is his manager, so pick his manager ID and go back to the ID column and look for ID 1. Alan is Richard's manager. So I just hope that you have got the clarity on the problem statement. Now let me take you to the Python and solve this problem, okay? So like we did, we first filtered out the managers. The same thing which I'm going to do over here, managers. All right, managers equals to, I'm just going to say employee.query. Employee is my main data frame, and into this here I'm going to say employee title equals to manager. All right, let's just see what is the records that we are going to get. Oops, it gives some error. End of line while scanning string literal. Okay, manager title, here it says employee title, sorry, not manager title, the column name is employee title. Okay, employee title was correct, and then here it should be manager only. Oops. Okay, all right, I got the problem. Now you solve this. Here is what we got. Okay, so these are all the managers, but out of this I want to keep only two columns. One is ID and then the other one is salary, right? So I will just keep two columns only, that is ID and salary. Now let's solve this. Here is what we got, ID and salary. Now I need to rename this just to avoid confusion. I am going to rename salary as manager salary. Rename columns equals to the column which I want to rename, and what is the new name that I want to give is this, manager's salary. All right, we are done, right? So here is what we got. Now we're gonna do the merging of both of the data sets, right? So I'm going to say employee dot merge. Employee is Employee is my main data frame. So out of employee I require only few things, not everything. Okay, what is it that I need? I need things that I need is manager ID, manager ID on which I will be running the VLOOKUP. Then what I need is first name, and then next thing which I require is salary, and then I need to put them all in square bracket. Okay, now in the merging I am going to say here the next data frame name which is managers, and left on the key which I want to use from employee table, that is manager ID, and the key which I want to use from the right data frame right on, that will be just ID. Okay, now this is sorted, and let's run this. Woo. So here is what we got. Now the next thing which we're gonna do is compare salary with manager salary. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'll just say query. Over here I'm going to write query into that this, and I would say salary greater than manager's salary. That is it. Oops, there seemed to be some problem. Spelling error issue. Nothing much. Right, so here is what we got, Richard. All right, but in the output we don't require all these columns. We only require first name and salary. So here I'm just going to put that first name, and the next one which I require is salary. Ooh, we got it. Now let's just check whether our solution is correct or not. Let's click on this. Ooh, it is green, so which means our solution is correct. So I just hope that it was pretty simple, right? It was not difficult. What all that we did is we filtered out first managers. First of all, we filtered out the managers along with their ID and salary. So remember, manager's ID has to be matched with employees manager's ID. Okay, this is the ID of the manager and this is the manager ID of the employees, right? So that's the catch over here. That is it, nothing else. Okay, so in the first line what we did, we filtered out all those people who are managers. In the second line what we did is we did merge of managers data frame with employee data frame, and we queried for those entries only where salary is greater than manager's salary. So this is it. Just in case if you get any doubt, put that into the comment section. I'll definitely try to help you out on that. So when you see over here, what it says is find the number of times the word bull and bear occurred in the content. We are counting the number of times the word occurs, so words like bullish should not be included in our count. Okay, so only if it is bull, then only it should be reflecting. Output the word bull and bear along with their corresponding number of occurrences. So for example, if you want to see the data, how the data looks like, so I'll just execute the code and here the data will be available. So you see over here, this is the content which has been given, and if you read this, here is the word bull comes in. Similarly, if you read further, in some of them you will find bear, right? So in this, if you see there is a word bear repeated. So now you have to figure it out. We have to figure it out in this text, how many times bull has been repeated and how many times bear has been repeated. I hope it is clear. Now how the output is expected, for that you can just click on this and you see over here, this is how they want you to produce the output. Words should be mentioned over here and entry should be mentioned over here. Okay, something like this. So what I'll do is, what I have done is I have taken the same data in pandas over here. How I did this, I simply copied this data. I simply clicked on this, it will open the data in the next tab, copy the data, put it in Excel over here, and then I imported that Excel in pandas over here. So this is how I got the data. Now let's move forward and figure out the solution. Now there is one problem. If you see over here, this doesn't look clear, right? So for that, what you can do is you can say pd dot options dot display dot column width, rather we can say max call width equals to, let's say 1000. Okay, now when you run this, what you see is the text is looking clearly, it is wrapped into it. Now let's try to figure out the solution. For example, let's try to take this text and see if we can count number of bull into it. So let's say text, and into this is repeated. Let's say text dot count and give the word bull. So it says 1. Let's repeat the word bull, and again over here. So when you see, it is saying 3, so which means it is working fine. Now we have to apply the same function over this each of the row, over each of these rows, right? So let's try to do that. I just deleted it. Now for that, what I'll do is, in the data frame I'll create another column which is called bull, and into that I would say let's say df, and here I'm going to choose the column content. Let's call apply, let's apply the function, and here I would say lambda x dot count, and let's call it bull. Let's see if this works. Df, oh, it looked like worked, right? You see in this bull is written 1, similarly for rest of them. Okay, so let's repeat the same for bear. Here I would say bear, and let's call it bear over here as well. All right, so here we got that for bear also. Now the next thing is, if you see the expected output, in that you notice two things here, word, and here net tree, right? Net tree, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. So we need to create another column which is called word, and into that we need to repeat the value net tree, right? Net tree, whatever you call it. Okay, so let's create the another column. Let's call it word, and over here we can say df netry, net tree. Oops, there seemed to be some problem. We don't need this. Yeah, now we are done. All right, so this is done. Next thing, we just need to do the we just need to take the summary of this. How can you do that? Let's say df dot pivot table, and into that the values which we have to use is bull. Value which we want to use from the from the column bull and bear. The column we need to give a, we need to pass the group by column. So for that I'm going to use word. All right, let's call it what is it expected? Word. It's only word. Okay, so here word is passed, then the function, aggregated function, what is expected, the function which is expected is sum. Let's print this. So here we got that word and a tree. All right, so 2 and 3, but here the problem is it is in descending order. So let's sort this in descending order. Sort values by net tree. All right, ascending equals to false, ascending equals to false. Now you see here we got that 3 2. This is exactly what was needed. Let's try to supply our solution. So you see this is exactly what was needed. Let's try to supply the solution. I'm going to copy this, and let's try to submit the solution over here. This is submitted, and let's try to put this as well, and let's see if our solution, how does our, though the answer is correct, let's see if it matches to the requirement as well. Let's run this. All right, so here we got solved. Let's check the solution. View the output. Solution is incorrect. Why is it saying incorrect? Let me try doing reset index here before sort values. Here, let me bring you over here. Here what I would do is I would say reset index dot sort values. All right, so here it says index equal to this, and let's just try to copy this, and I will put it right over here. Okay, let's try to submit it again. It was failed previously. Let's see if it works well. Yeah, this worked, right? So here, because of that indexing thing, it was giving the error. So I just hope that it was clear to you. Just in case if you get any doubt, put that into the comment section. I'll definitely try to reply on that. The question, so here what it says is calculate the total revenue from each customer in 2019, March 2019, include only those customers who were active in the March 2019. So apparently those customers who have done the transaction in March 2019, those were the active customers, right? Output revenue along with the customer ID and sort the results based on the revenue in descending order. Okay, so let's have a look on the data, how the data looks like. So this is the data. Here you have ID, customer ID, order date, order details, total order cost. So this is the cost basis on which we have to calculate the revenue, and in the date we need to look for only those transactions which have been done in March 2019. Okay, and then the customer ID, basis on customer ID we primarily require to sum up the revenue, and with a filter condition of March 2019. Whatever we get, we need to sort the values, we need to sort the results basis on total order cost. I just hope that it is clear. Now let's see how the output is expected. This is how the output should look like. Now I have shown you the data, we understood the question. This time I'm not going to take you to the Jupyter notebook. Directly I'm going to solve this question over here. So let me just let's just see what is the shape of the data, right? Some basic exploration, right? So there are 25 records, that's it. So first thing first, let's just try to filter the data, filter those transactions which were done in March 2019. So for that, what you can do is I will again use query, and into the query double quote, let's say the column, the column transaction date column is order date, right? So let's take this order date, that is already formatted as date, so we don't need to change it, right? So order date dot dt dot year should be equals to 2019, and order date dot dt dot month should be equals to 3. Let's see the data. All right, so here we got this data. Okay, let's see if we can get the shape of it. Yes, now we got 8 records out of those 27, whatever were there. Out of that, only 8 transactions are something which were done in the month of March 2019. Now the next thing which we require to do is we need to summarize this. We gotta summarize this data, right? So for that I would use pivot table. If you want, you can store this data in a separate data frame, and then you on top of that you can run the pivot. But here what I'm going to do is on top of this directly, this query I did, and on top of that directly I'm going to run the pivot table, and into that let me show you the data side by side so that it will be easy to understand or easy to relate. Okay, so here we are done with sorting. Now pivot table, in the final output, what is it that it is expected? Customer ID, revenue by customer ID, right? So we need to choose customer ID. So I'm just going to put customer ID in the index cust ID. All right, then which is the column on which we have to perform the calculation? That is that we're gonna put in values, and the column which we require is total order cost. I'm trying to go slow. Okay, the kind of function which we want to use is sum, right? We want to do the summation of the data. All right, so I think we are all set. Let's just try to execute this. Here is what we got. Right, so here you see only revenues, right? We don't see the customer ID. So for that we need to say reset index. Now let's run this. Here is what we got, right? 3, 7, 12, 15, this. Now you see this is not sorted, so we need to sort this. Sort values, and we need to sort this by total order cost, and we need to sort it in descending order. So for that we're gonna say ascending equals to false. All right, now let's just run this. We are done. So let's try to compare this with the output which was expected. You see 3 5 7 12, 3 5 7 12, 210 150 80 20, 210 150 80 20. We got that same result. Now let's just try to check if this is correct or not. Yeah, it says it is correct. We see all green. Bravo, we are done with solving this question. I just hope this was very quick, right? I just hope that you understood this. Just in case if you get any doubt, do not hesitate to put that into the comment section. Here comes the question. It doesn't talk much about, it simply says find the rate of processed tickets for each type. Let's have a look on the data. So here we have the preview of the data. So what it is saying is there are two types, 0 and 1. Okay, so for each of the type, for example, for the issue type 0, there were 3 issues, right? There were 3 complaints, out of which 2 were resolved, 1 is not resolved. So you gotta find the rate of the resolution. Okay, resolution rate, which will simply be 2 by 3. Okay, because total number is 3 and out of that 2 has been resolved, so it will be 2 by 3. Same goes for this one, 2 by 3. Okay, because 2 has been resolved, 1 is unresolved, so and the total issues were 3. So it looks pretty simple, isn't it? The problem statement is simple. You have this data, you gotta summarize it something like this, right? And then you gotta divide false divided by, you gotta divide true by the sum of false and true, and you get this kind of processed rate. And because in the output you are expected to show only 2 things, which is type and processed rate, so the output is going to look like this. So it looks pretty simple, right? But the question comes, why would somebody ask this in interview, and that too for a company like Facebook or Meta? There must be some catch, right? If you're thinking so, then you're right. So here the catch is, you see this processed, okay? These are the Boolean values, 0 and 1. So when you summarize that, you are not going to get this kind of pivot, right? This kind of format. This will always be, even if you get this, you won't be able to simply do the calculation using this. So what are the things that you would particularly require to take care of, and how would you handle this? That's the catch hidden inside this question. Otherwise it's not a big question, not a very tedious question or difficult to solve, right? The only catch is this. All right, so let's just jump to the Jupyter notebook and try to solve this. How can we solve this? So in the Jupyter notebook, I've already imported the data. So first thing which we're going to do is, let's just summarize this data. Okay, so for that what we're going to do is df dot pivot table index. In the index I'm going to use, all right, type, and then in the columns I'm going to use, let's just give it a second, let it complete. I'm going to use, let's say, processed, and the aggregation function which I want to perform, that is count. Okay, let's just see. Yeah, we got this. This is exactly what we were looking for, right? So let me just do this index, sorry, reset index. Though it's not a very difficult question, but little tricky. Okay, now we're gonna store this in our table. Let's call that summary, and let's try to print that. Here we got that, right? So here we got type, false and true. Now the next thing which we need to do is divide this by the sum of these two, but for that you would require to rename these two things, because if you see the column names, see how the column names are coming: complaint ID false, complaint ID true, etc. So we would require to rename this. And to rename this, there are two options. Either you take each of the column and rename that, or I'm simply just going to do prefix with prefix in all of these column names. Before that, let me show you, because that is still the boolean type, right? Because over here, whatever the data we had, let's say info, okay, info over here, so you see processed is boolean. So in that case, you cannot do the division. Let me just show it to you. Okay, let's just try to solve this. Okay, let's say here the column is for true. You're gonna divide true by the sum of false and true. But this is not going to work. This is going to give you the error, because see, true, it is saying that there isn't any column, because here we are defining it as a string and there is no string, right? If you remove the string like this is going to be work as a boolean value, and still that's not gonna work, right? You see over here, it's not working. So what is the solution in that case? So let's just try the solution. So the solution resides in renaming these variables. How do you rename that? So the shortcut is, let's call it add prefix. Add prefix, and you put the prefix which you want to use, and let's just store that in summary itself, I mean in the same data frame, and let's just try to print it. Now you see over here, here's what you get. Now there is one more problem. This is coming, right? So let me just do one thing. Let me just take this column name from here, complaint ID only, and let me try to put that into the values. Okay, and now let's see. You see this is sorted, isn't it? Now the next thing is very simple. You just need to do the calculation. Okay, so I'm going to create another column into the same data frame, and let's call that, what is the name that we need to give to that column? That is, let's come back over here and go over here, and let's see what is it expected. Processed rate. It asks us to put the processed rate, so I'm just going to put that, and after that I would say summary, and here that should be underscore true, divides by this plus this, and let's call it false. All right, here is what we got, but in the output we require only two things, type and the rate. So let's just put that underscore type, because in the solution it is not expecting you to produce the exact same column name, right? So that is fine. Right, you see, this is what we got. We are sorted, right? We are done with this. So let's just try to put this data into the solution and see if this gives us the correct answer. Over here in the coding, I'm putting this, and the data frame name was, let me see if it has the data frame name. Why is this not showing the data frame? Yeah, here, Facebook complaints, right? So here I will just say tf equals to Facebook complaints, right? Let's run this. The code is executed. Let's check whether it is correct or not. Yeah, it says this is absolutely correct. All right, so this is how you can solve this, right? I just hope that it was simple for you to understand, and the only catch was the boolean value. So whenever you get any this kind of boolean problem statement where you have to perform the calculation using that as column, do not forget to use this kind of trick. Okay, I just hope that it was simple for you to understand. Just in case if you get in doubt, put that into the comment section. I'll definitely try to reply you back. Now here we got the next question, which is again about city of San Francisco, and the difficulty level is medium. The next thing which we're gonna do is read out the question. The first thing here we got is, you are given a data set of health inspection right? Count the number of violation in an inspection in Roxanne Cafe for each year. Okay, so in the data frame you would have business name in which you can find the Roxanne Cafe, and then we need to count the number of violation by each of the year, how many time the health violation was done over here. So here it says further, if an inspection resulted in violation, then there will be a value in the violation ID. If there is no violation, then violation ID will be blank. Output the number of violation by year in ascending order. Okay, so in ascending order we need to produce. So what sort of output that is expected? It is expected to be this, right? Like you can see over here, inspection date and the violation ID, count of violations, right? So in 2015 there were 5 violations, which is quite significant. Now let's have a look on the sample data frame. I'm just going to show it over here. I don't know why did I click on the solution while there was no solution. Okay, so here is the data frame that we have. Here we got business name, and here we got the violation ID. Here we got the violation ID, and then here we have the inspection date from which we need to fetch the year. All right, and then that's how we need to proceed further. Okay, so let me start very quickly how to solve this. First of all, which I am not liking is the big data frame name, so I'm going to put that into a small data frame. Then the next thing which I'm going to do is filter for specific business, which is Roxanne or something, Roxanne Cafe business, and the non-missing violations. Okay, because see, it said whenever there was a violation, in the violation ID column there will be a value, so we need to count those, how many times it happens. So it's better to filter out all those where there is no missing value in the violation ID, then apparently that will give you the count of the number of violations, right? And once this is done, then we need to fetch the year from date, which is inspection date. Out of that we need to fetch, then count the number of violations by year. All right, let's just go ahead and do that. So these are the 3 things which we're gonna do. So first of all, we need to filter for business, so let's just do that. df, and here the business name, we need to filter for business name should be Roxanne Cafe. Let me quickly copy the business name from here because I don't want to make any spelling mistake. Here comes the business name, Roxanne Cafe. I'm not sure if you pronounce it differently, so please pardon me for that if it is pronounced differently. Okay, so this is the first filter. Now we have to put second filter as well, but before that we need to put this in a parenthesis, and we're going to use ampersand over here to put the second filter. Second filter again would be df dot violation ID should not be equals to missing, right? That should not be missing. This is how. If you want, you can also use not null. You can also use dot not null, right? This can also be used, but I'm going to stick to this thing this time. Okay, so this is it. Now we also need to put this into a parenthesis operator. So let's just run this and see what is the output that we got. Yeah, here we got the desired output. Now we don't require all of these columns, so we are going to put only those things which are needed. So things which are needed is inspection date, though the only thing which is needed, this is the only thing which is needed, inspection date, and the other thing which I would keep is violation ID, nothing else. Okay, but before that let's just have a quick look. Is this, yeah, this is Roxanne Cafe only. Okay, so here's what we got. Now let's just filter for this. Okay, so here is what we got. Okay, now we need to fetch the year from date, but for that I'm just going to put it in a data frame, named it Rox Cafe. I'm just going to make it smaller one. Now we need to fetch year out of the inspection date. Did I make any mistake? Inspection, let me run this once. If it is working, yeah, it's working all well. All right, so let me just expand this. Now this will be sorted. Roxanne Cafe, into this I'm going to create a column called year, and after that what I would do is Roxanne Cafe, and into that we have the column inspection date, and the function which I'm going to use is dt, and what I need to take out of that is year. Let's run that. Here is what we got. Year is here. It's quite, that sounds quite funny, isn't it? Now the next thing which we need to do is take a count of it. So for that I'm going to say rocks cafe dot pivot table. Into that we're gonna say index equals to year, and then value I'm going to take, violation id, because that is something which we have to count. Okay, and after that we can add function which we can use is count. Now let's just run that. Ooh, there is some problem. Got an unexpected values. It should be values, not value. Now the next thing which we need to do is reset index. Ooh, we got it. You see? Now we can also do sort value. Sort values by sort value, we want to do it by year, and it asked us in ascending order or descending order. Let's quickly have a look on the output. The number of violation by year in ascending order only, so we don't need to say anything, but that should be fine. Okay, so you see we got over here. This is how you can build the solution. So 2015 5, 2016 2, 2018 and 3, there these many violations happened by the year in Roxanne Cafe. Now let's just check this solution whether this is correct or not. Yeah, it is correct, you see. So I just hope that it was simple for you to understand. Just in case of any doubt, put that into the comment section. If you're someone who already had the basic understanding and you solved it in most interesting way, then put that into the comment section. I know there are multiple ways of solving any problem, so I will be very happy to see your solution. Put your solution into the comment and I will definitely have a look on that and give a thumbs up if that sounds very interesting. Oh, not sounds, but looks. Okay, we are heading towards the end. Now the last question on this page is for city of San Francisco, and it asks us to classify the business. Let's quickly look at the question. Okay, so over here it says, let's read out the question. Here it says classify each business as either a restaurant, cafe, school or other. So in the data we can expect some columns. Okay, I mean a lot of rows, and along with the business name, because here is what it is saying, right? Along with the business name, and in business name we need to look for certain keywords, and then basis on that we need to classify it. So for example, here it says a restaurant, we need to classify all those business as restaurant which have the restaurant keyword in business name column. Same goes for the here. If the business name column have either of these three keywords, either cafe or coffee, okay, then we should classify that as cafe. If the business name has keyword school, then we should classify that as school. Rest everything should be classified as other. All right, so I think you have understood it. Let's have a quick view on the sample data. Let me see if I have already executed it. If not, then here is what the sample data looks like. Let me take it to the separate window and let's just see. So the best part is if you're someone who already knows pandas, then here the best thing which we are learning is how to approach a problem statement. Okay, so you see over here we got the business name, right? Here we have the business name. In the business name we need to look for the keyword like school. If it contains school, we need to classify, we need to create another column, let's say business type, and into that we need to put the value as school. So let's see the sample of expected output. Here we are. Okay, now here we go. You see, in the final output, it is expected to have only business name, which we just saw, and the business type, which we would require to create. Now, if you notice over here, business type all is written in small letter, right? So we should keep this thing in mind. Now, let's just quickly start with this thing, right? So this is the whole data frame, restaurant, San Francisco restaurant health violations, etc, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to, this is too big data frame name, it's such a big data frame name, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in df, and because for our work we require only one column, and that is business name, so I'm just going to keep that column only, business name. All right, so we are done with that. Here is what we had. Now the next column which we need to create is business type. Business type, this is what we need to create. How to create that? So for example, tf, and then we need to use the business name column into that. Okay, so this is what we are going to use, business name, and on that we need to apply the function. So apply some criteria, logic, etc, right? So you all know that apply function is something which Panda provide us, which we can use to apply any kind of function. And then the another powerful thing which is lambda, right? Lambda is something which we use to create any function or use any function on fly. Okay, so here we go, lambda x, and then now the game starts. What is the word that we need to produce first? What is the business type that we need to produce first? So that business type, it says produce restaurant. It is asking to produce restaurant if x contains the word restaurant, right? If we can say if restaurant in x, this is it. So this is how we are going to write the syntax. You see, let's try to understand it once again. So here we are taking the column on which we need to apply the condition, or the column which we need to use, or the column in which we need to look for certain keywords. For example, let's say we only need to classify restaurant. So business name is the column which we need to look in. Okay, then applies the function which we use to apply any function, and lambda is something which we use to create any function on fly. Here, if you are wondering what x is, so we are saying this column as x. Okay, so we are just referring to this particular column, lambda x. We are saying produce restaurant in business type if restaurant is available in column x. Is that okay? Yes, I can hear that you are pretty much confident. Now the next, let's look at the next criteria. Oh, it's going to be little difficult. Here it says three things. We need to check three things. If it matches, then we need to classify that as cafe. Let's try that. So over here, let's take one at a time. Okay, let me just see if the alignment and everything is all right. Okay, and over here, oops, I don't know why it is happening like this. Else, let's just say else, we're gonna say else cafe. All right, there is one more thing which we need to do. We should say lower, otherwise it could be case sensitive as well, right? So whatever this column is, this column we are converting that into the small case, small letter. Okay, now after that, else, what if it is not restaurant? Then the next thing we need to say is cafe. Cafe in what scenario? If cafe in x dot lower, sorry, my bad, in x dot lower. Hope that's fine and easy to understand. So this was for cafe, but there are three things which we need to consider. I highly recommend you copy this part from here, because there is something which is written in French style. Now either it should have cafe, or it should have or this in x dot lower, or the last thing is coffee, right? Let me copy this. Where is that coffee? Here it is. Okay, now let me just put it over here, coffee in x dot lower. I'll quickly help you understand. Okay, so here till restaurant it is clear, right? I just hope that it is clear till that point. Now after that, what is happening after after restaurant it says else. If it's not restaurant, then check if it has cafe in, if sorry, it is saying produce cafe in business type if cafe is available in X, or if cafe in French style available in column X, or if coffee is available in column X. Right, hope it was clear. Then the next thing comes, else school if school in X dot lower. All right, so see, this is the condition. We are trying to check whether school is available in column X or not. If yes, then put a school. Right, now what if neither of these conditions are true? Let's have a look if there is any other condition. I don't think so. Is there any other condition? No, school was the second last. Then if neither of those conditions are true, then put other. That's what it is saying. Now let's just try that. It is very simple, right? Then let's, next thing which we are going to say is else other. That is it, done. Let's see if the syntax is right. Yeah, it seemed to be. Why it says P? There is no P. Okay, so business name is written over here, and business type, let's have a look at whole data frame. Woo, we got it. Okay, you see the things are solved, right? This is how we need to solve this. Now let's just check if the answer is correct or not. Pause the video if you have any doubt, pause the video, or watch it again if you get any doubt till this point. Now I'm going to check whether the solution is correct or not. Oh, it failed, right? Let's see if it suggests what is incorrect. Solution is incorrect. For a solution to be accepted, your output should match the expected solution value in each column. Column names and positions are ignored, but output is case sensitive. Okay, output is case sensitive. Let's say column name is ignored. Let's see where we are mistaking. Okay, so I'm doing a deep dive into it so that you could also get to know how to approach a problem statement, right? And how to debug something, right? Okay, so here is what we got. Here it says this particular thing is classified as restaurant, so it should be restaurant, isn't it? Because it has the word restaurant. And this particular thing is classified as other, that's why it is having an error. No, but it should be other, right? Because it doesn't have either of this word. It doesn't have restaurant, it doesn't have cafe, coffee, and it doesn't have school as well. So it should be true. Now what is the problem? Let's have a look in the approach hint. So in approach hint, these are true, it is just suggesting you. Now here, see, this is the point which we need to notice. Many entries, a business can have many locations. Okay, so which means there could be one business name which are available in multiple locations, and because of which we are getting multiple entries. And there is a high possibility that they in the output solution which this official website has created, that has only one entry for this particular restaurant, and that is classified as restaurant. But for us, we have multiple entries for this thing, so that's why it is giving the error. Let's try to validate it. So to validate that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pivot and see if my data has multiple entries for same business. Okay, index equals to business name, sorry, and then ag func, which I'm going to create is uses count. And let me just do the reset index also, reset index. Okay, let me sort values also, sort values by business type. Ascending equals to false, equals to false. Now you can see it over here. Roxanne Cafe has 10 entries, and what else? See, this particular restaurant where we were getting the error, right? This has two entries, that's why the error was. Now let's just see how can we quickly fix this. So it is very simple, nothing to worry about, right? So I'm just going to delete this, and let's just say on business name we just need to drop the duplicates. So you simply say df dot drop duplicates, I don't know, drop duplicates, and into that we need to use subset argument or parameter. So subset is something we use to say it should remove duplicates basis on a certain column. If you don't want to use, then you can also, it is also fine, because in the data frame you have only two columns. But to be on safer side, let's say if you are not doing this type of thing in the beginning, then you should use this subset over here, right? So that it will use only this column to look for the duplicates. Okay, now let's just see the solution. Here we got the solution created. Yeah, we got the solution created. Now let's just check if this is correct or not. Yeah, see, it's solved. So bingo, we solved this problem statement. I just hope that it was clear for you to understand. See, because of this it was giving us the error, and I highly recommend you go through this, you try this one by one. If you are very beginner to Pandas, try this one by one, right? I would suggest use one condition only. I mean, write the condition still here only, right? And then test that. If you're comfortable, then try another condition. If you're comfortable, then try the another condition. That's how you learn, right? So I just hope that it was very simple for you to understand. Just in case of any doubt, put that into the comment section. I'll definitely try to help you out. Thank you very much for bearing with me and staying till the end of this video and watching each of the 20 questions. I hope that was very helpful for you, and if that helped you by any way, if you learned anything out of this video, please give a thumbs up to this video, share it with your friends. If you want, you can share a clip of this video also, if not the entire one, right? And for our motivation, please hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss any such video which we upload over the channel on the real-time basis. You can get the notification by just clicking this bell icon. Thank you very much once again. Keep in touch, keep safe. Wish you very good luck for all of your upcoming interviews. Thanks once again.